we get started, please like and subscribe. Let me know where you're watching from, and you can support the channel by clicking thanks or joining. Rachel Bennett had always believed that memories were fragile things, easily misplaced, easily rewritten by time, and sometimes better left forgotten. But the night she returned to her childhood hometown of Briarford, she discovered that some memories had teeth, and some, she would learn, refused to die quietly. The rain poured in relentless sheets as she drove along the winding back roads leading to her late grandmother's house. The wipers struggled, scraping across the windshield like claws. The radio hissed with static, offering neither music nor company. Rachel tried to ignore the rising sense of dread in her chest. It had been 20 years since she last saw that house. 20 years since the night her grandmother locked away the doll that no one in her family would speak about. She had not wanted to return. But the will was clear. Everything her grandmother owned now belonged to her. And the moment Rachel had read the letter from the attorney, she felt a cold pulse of unease in her spine, as if something, somewhere, had been waiting patiently for her. The house sat alone atop a hill, its windows dark, its roof sagging under the weight of decay. Rachel parked, grabbed her suitcase, and hurried through the storm. The front door groaned open on its own when she touched the handle, as if inhaling in recognition. Water dripped off her coat as she stepped inside. The smell of dust and old wood filled her lungs. Her grandmother, Eliza Bennett, had been a collector of strange things: wooden carvings, antique clocks, faded portraits of people whose eyes seemed to follow her across the room. But one collection had always been hidden away: the dolls. She had dozens of them, meticulously arranged in a locked cabinet, each holding the same uncanny expression. At least, Rachel remembered them that way, but her memories blurred around the edges, as though time had smudged them on purpose. She wandered into the living room, switching on a lamp. Shadows clung to the corners. The furniture was draped with white sheets like ghosts waiting for instruction. Rachel moved deeper into the house, listening to the wind rattle the windows. Then she felt it, the shift, a coldness that slid across the back of her neck, feather-light but unmistakable. She froze. The house was silent except for the rain, but something had changed. Something was aware of her. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number flashed on the screen. "Welcome back, Rachel." Her breath caught. She stared, waiting for another message, but none came. She shoved the phone into her pocket and forced herself to explore the rest of the house. When she reached her grandmother's bedroom, she paused. The door was slightly open, revealing darkness inside. She pushed it gently. The air felt heavier here, older. On the dresser lay a small brass key, as though deliberately placed for her. Rachel knew exactly what it unlocked: the doll cabinet. She picked up the key, its metal cold enough to sting her skin. A memory flickered at the edge of her mind, her grandmother kneeling beside her, whispering sharply as she held Rachel by the shoulders. Don't ever look at her again. Don't even say her name. Whose name Rachel couldn't remember. Even thinking about it made her head ache. Clutching the key, she made her way to the hallway closet where the doll cabinet had been kept. The door creaked open. The cabinet stood exactly where it always had, draped in a dusty cloth. Slowly, she lifted the covering. Beneath it, the wooden case gleamed faintly in the dim light. Intricate carvings of faces covered its surface. Some looked terrified, others looked angry, and in the very center, Rachel saw something that caused her stomach to twist. A carved face of a young girl that looked exactly like her. Her hands trembled as she inserted the key into the lock. It clicked open with a soft metallic sigh. Inside were rows of dolls. Porcelain, glass-eyed, centuries old, their faces painted with delicate expressions that hovered between innocence and malice. Rachel scanned the shelves, her pulse loud in her ears. One doll was missing, the center doll, the one her grandmother had forbidden her from touching, the one Rachel could no longer clearly picture. She felt an ache behind her eyes, as if her mind resisted remembering. Thunder shook the house. Footsteps echoed behind her. Rachel spun around. The hallway was empty, but she felt no relief. The footsteps had been real, slow, deliberate, as though someone small had been walking barefoot across the floor. She shut the cabinet quickly and backed away. The brass key slipped from her hand, clinking against the wood. A soft tapping sound followed. Tap, tap, tap. It came from the end of the hallway. Rachel squinted. A shadow shifted near the base of the stairs. Something small and doll-sized darted behind the railing. Her heart pounded so violently she felt dizzy. She stumbled backward until her shoulders hit the wall. Her breathing grew shallow. Then she heard it. A giggle, light, childlike, but warped somehow, as though filtered through cracked porcelain. Rachel forced herself to move. She grabbed her suitcase, slammed the bedroom door shut, and retreated into the living room. She needed rest. She needed clarity. She needed to convince herself that what she heard was nothing more than exhaustion and grief mixing with childhood fears. She curled onto the old sofa, the storm rumbling outside. Eventually, exhaustion dragged her into sleep, but she didn't rest. She dreamed of a room filled with dolls, their hollow eyes staring without blinking. She dreamed of small porcelain hands gripping her wrists, pulling her down. She dreamed of a voice whispering in the dark, a voice that knew her name intimately. I remember you, Rachel. When she snapped awake, soaked in sweat, the lamp beside her flickered, and on the coffee table in front of her sat a single porcelain doll, pale and cracked down one cheek. A doll she had never seen before, but the face it wore was unmistakable. It was hers. Morning never arrived gently in Briarford. The sky hung low, heavy with clouds that felt more like a warning than weather. Rachel woke to the faint creaking of floorboards somewhere in the house. For a moment she lay still, forcing her breath to quiet. The doll on the coffee table remained exactly where it had been, its cracked porcelain cheek catching the weak light. But something about it felt different now. The eyes seemed more focused, more aware. Rachel sat up slowly. A dull ache pulsed behind her temples, the same ache she had felt ever since she stepped into the house. Memories twisted inside her mind like vines. Some she recognized, some she didn't. Some felt like they belonged to someone else entirely. She stood, keeping her gaze fixed on the doll. When she reached for it, her fingers brushed its cold ceramic skin. Her pulse spiked. A strange sensation flooded her chest, as though the doll exhaled against her touch. She yanked her hand back, not touching it again. Not now. Determined to regain control, Rachel walked into the kitchen. The old wooden floor groaned with every step. Dust coated the counters, and faint traces of her grandmother lingered in the decor. A pot still sat on the stove. A cup rested by the sink, as if Eliza had stepped out for only a moment and never returned. Rachel filled a glass of water, but the pipes moaned as if protesting. She drank anyway. Her hands trembled, though she couldn't decide if it was from fear or exhaustion. She needed answers, and she knew exactly where she would find them. Her grandmother's study. The room had always been off limits. Eliza claimed the space was for her research, though she never explained what that research was. Rachel remembered hearing whispers through the door as a child, soft voices, sometimes more than one. When she asked about them, her grandmother simply whispered, "They are not talking to you. Do not answer them." Rachel shook the memory away and made her way down the hall. The study door resisted when she pushed on it, swollen from years of disuse. With one final shove, it opened. The air inside was stale, yet thick with the scent of aged paper. Shelves crammed with books towered over her, their spines cracked and titles fading. Strange symbols were carved into some of the wooden shelves, symbols she didn't recognize but felt uneasy looking at. A large oak desk sat at the center of the room, papers scattered across its surface, but what caught her eye was a leather-bound journal lying open, as though her grandmother had left it there waiting for her. Rachel approached slowly. The pages were filled with precise handwriting, her grandmother's unmistakable script. At the top of the open page, a title sent chills through her, "The Doll That Remembers Faces." Her throat tightened. She forced herself to read. Once created to preserve memory, the doll has grown beyond its purpose. It no longer remembers only faces. It remembers intentions, fears, sins. It attaches itself to those it chooses and reflects them back in ways that unravel the mind. Rachel stepped back instinctively, heart thundering. Another entry, written more urgently, appeared below it. "I fear she is growing stronger." Her voice echoes at night. She wanders when unseen. She watches me with Rachel's eyes. I must lock her away. For my sake, for Rachel, for Rachel. A cold shiver ran down her arms. Her grandmother had been protecting her, but from what exactly? Rachel flipped the page. This time the handwriting twisted, letters shaking as though written by a trembling hand. She remembers things I have forgotten, things Rachel must never learn. Rachel slammed the journal shut before she realized she was moving. Her breath came fast and shallow. Sweat pooled at her hairline. She backed away from the desk, desperate for air. Something moved in the doorway. She froze. Her eyes darted toward the hall, but the space was empty. A whisper drifted through the air, barely audible, as though spoken from inside a wall. "Rachel." The voice was small, familiar, childlike, and wrong. Rachel bolted from the study. She needed to leave the house. She needed space to think. The storm outside had lessened to a steady drizzle, and she stepped onto the porch, gulping the cold air. Briarford stretched before her, silent and unchanged. Rows of old houses, peeling paint, flickering street lamps. A town preserved in time, like an insect trapped in amber. Across the street, an elderly man stood motionless near a mailbox, watching her with unblinking eyes. When she met his gaze, he turned and walked away without a word. Something was off about this town. The people, the air, the silence. Rachel returned inside. She wasn't safe out there either. As she stepped into the living room, she stopped dead. The doll was no longer on the coffee table. Her pulse hammered. She scanned the room frantically. Nothing. Not on the table, not on the floor, not on the sofa. Then she saw it. The doll sat on the first step of the staircase, facing her as if waiting. Rachel stumbled back, swallowing a rising scream. She had been gone for only minutes. Dolls didn't move. They couldn't move, except this one had, or someone had moved it. Her phone vibrated. Unknown number. Do you remember me yet? She felt the air thicken around her. The shadows seemed to deepen. Her mind threatened to spiral, but she forced herself to breathe. Think. Dolls don't walk on their own. Someone must be in the house. She grabbed a nearby lamp for protection and slowly approached the stairs. Each step creaked beneath her weight. She reached for the doll, intending to throw it away or smash it to pieces. Anything to stop this madness. But the moment she touched it, her vision blurred. A flood of memories crashed into her consciousness. A little girl laughing beside her. A room filled with dolls. Her grandmother shouting her name. A porcelain face turning toward her. Eyes that were too aware. A whisper, "I will remember you forever." Rachel gasped and dropped the doll. It hit the floor with a thud, but didn't break. Her knees buckled. She stumbled back, gripping the wall. The memories were fragments, impossible to piece together. But one thing was certain. This doll knew her, and she had known it. Lightning flashed, illuminating the hallway. In that momentary burst of light, Rachel saw a small shadow scurry across the upstairs landing. She wasn't alone, and whatever shared her grandmother's house knew exactly who she was, and it remembered everything she had forgotten. Rachel stood frozen at the bottom of the staircase, her breath trembling as the last echo of the shadow scurrying across the upstairs landing faded into the walls. The house felt alive in a way it never should have, humming with a presence she could no longer deny. The doll lay on its side where she had dropped it, its lifeless porcelain face angled toward her, cracked cheek glinting faintly in the shifting shadows. Yet even in stillness, it felt as though the doll watched her, remembered her. She forced herself to step back, gripping the railing to keep her balance. The memories that had surged through her mind moments before flickered again, dancing at the edge of her consciousness. A girl laughing, dolls lined in a circle, a voice whispering her name with too much familiarity, but none of it made sense. The harder she tried to assemble the fragments, the further they slipped away. leaving only a dull ache behind her eyes. Rachel moved into the living room and lowered herself onto the sofa. Her hands shook uncontrollably. Every part of her screamed to leave, to run far from this house, far from Briarford, far from whatever was stalking the edges of her memories. But something heavier anchored her. The truth. Her grandmother had left this house to her for a reason. She had written warnings in her journal for her sake. She had known something Rachel had forgotten. Rachel could not leave until she understood. The storm outside had weakened, the rain tapping rhythmically against the windows. The faint sound seemed almost calming, if not for the oppressive energy coiling around the room. Her phone vibrated again. She hesitated before picking it up. Unknown number. "You dropped me." Rachel's heart stopped. The phone slipped from her hand and clattered to the floor. The message burned in her memory like a brand. She swallowed hard and forced herself to pick up the phone again, but no new messages followed. Her throat tightened. Dolls could not text. Shadows could not run. Memories could not move on their own. Something was manipulating everything around her, playing with her like a puppet tugged by invisible strings. A sudden thud echoed from upstairs. Rachel leapt to her feet. The sound was small, like something lightweight falling over, but it was enough to slice through the silence and drop her stomach into ice. She grabbed the nearest object, a metal flashlight sitting on the console table, and held it like a weapon. Slowly she ascended the staircase, each step creaking under her weight. The air grew colder the higher she climbed, as though the warmth of the house refused to reach the upper floor. When she reached the landing, her breath fogged the air. The hallway stretched before her, lined with closed doors. The wallpaper peeled in long strips, revealing older layers beneath. The house was aging from the inside out. She stepped forward. A soft, scraping sound drifted from the second door on the right, her grandmother's sewing room. Rachel remembered sitting there as a child, while Eliza mended torn fabric with her steady hands. She remembered the old rocking chair in the corner, the shelves of buttons and threads, the window that overlooked the woods behind the house. The scraping continued, slow, deliberate. Rachel pushed the door open. The room was dark except for weak light leaking through the thin curtains. Dust covered every surface. The chair sat still in the corner. Shelves sagged under the weight of old sewing materials. But what drew her attention was the narrow table near the window. A porcelain doll sat on it. Not the cracked doll from downstairs. This one had smooth skin and glassy blue eyes. Its dress was frayed lace, yellowed with age, and its head was turned toward the window as though watching something outside, as though waiting. Rachel stepped inside. Her fingers tightened around the flashlight. She approached the table slowly, aware of her own heartbeat pounding like a drum. The scraping sound had stopped. The doll didn't move, but something about the set of its shoulders, the angle of its head, felt wrong, intentional. When Rachel reached out and touched the doll's dress, a chill shot through her arm. She jerked back, stumbling. Something shifted behind her. Rachel spun around. The rocking chair in the corner moved. Just once, forward and back. A single smooth motion. Her breath hitched. She raised the flashlight, its beam slicing through the shadows. Nothing sat in the chair. Nothing stood nearby, yet the air vibrated with presence. A whisper rippled across the room. "You left me here." Rachel staggered back, the flashlight trembling in her hand. The voice was faint, like it came from inside a wall or from beneath the floorboards. It sounded like a child. It sounded familiar. It sounded like her. She fled the room, slamming the door behind her. Her chest tightened painfully. She struggled to breathe as she leaned against the wall, fighting the weight of terror pressing down on her. She needed help, someone who knew more than she did, someone who had lived in Briarford long enough to understand the town's secrets. She grabbed her phone, scrolling through old contacts until she found one she never expected to use again. Daniel Hayes, her childhood friend, the only person who had been with her the day her grandmother locked the forbidden doll away, the only other person who might remember what Rachel could not. She hit call. The ringing stretched on too long. Just when Rachel was about to hang up, the line clicked. "Rachel." His voice was cautious, as though he had been expecting the call but hoping it would never come. "Daniel," she whispered, "I think something is wrong with the house." Silence filled the line. "It's her, isn't it?" he said finally. Rachel froze. "You know about the doll." "I know enough. And if she is awake again, you need to get out of that house right now. I can't leave. I need answers. My grandmother wrote about her in a journal." Daniel cursed softly under his breath. "Listen to me, Rachel. That doll wasn't just cursed. She was created, crafted with purpose, and she remembers every face she ever saw, including yours." Rachel swallowed hard. "I keep seeing shadows, hearing things. I think she's already moving. If she's moving, then it's already too late to pretend this is nothing. Coming to Briarford. Do not go near the workshop. Do not go near the attic. And whatever you do, don't look directly into her eyes." The line went dead. Rachel lowered the phone slowly. A cold wave washed over her. She didn't know what was in the attic. She didn't know what workshop Daniel meant, but she knew one thing with absolute certainty. She was no longer dealing with memories. She was dealing with something that had been waiting for her return, and it was getting closer. Rachel stood motionless after the call ended, the stillness of the house pressing in around her like a closing fist. Daniel's warning repeated in her mind with a chilling clarity. Do not go near the workshop. Do not go near the attic. And whatever you do, don't look directly into her eyes. Her eyes, the doll's eyes, the eyes that had followed her down hallways in fragments of forgotten childhood nightmares. The eyes she had seen in dreams that felt too real, too sharp, too familiar. Rachel swallowed hard and forced herself to breathe. The house hummed with an undercurrent of tension, the floorboards settling in slow creaks as though responding to her rising fear. She knew she should stay downstairs where she could watch every corner, every doorway, every shadow. But she also knew something was drawing her deeper inside, something that tugged at her memory like an insistent hand gripping the edge of a locked door. If Daniel knew something, she needed to stay alive long enough for him to reach Briarford. She glanced at the staircase leading back to the second floor, the air around it shimmering subtly as though distorted by heat. despite the cold settling into the house. The attic door loomed unseen above, shrouded in darkness. She tore her gaze away quickly. Downstairs, she moved from room to room, trying to keep herself occupied, trying to ignore the faint sensation that she was being watched. The living room felt suffocating, the kitchen worse. Every room was weighted with memories she could not access. Memories the doll seemed to hold like a prize. Her grandmother's words echoed through time. She wanders when unseen. She watches me with Rachel's eyes. Rachel paused, her fingers brushing the edge of the dining table. What had her grandmother meant by that? What was the doll reflecting? And why did her memories feel broken, like pages torn from a book she herself had written yet no longer remembered? She needed to ground herself. She needed to search for more of Eliza's notes, anything that could explain what was happening. The study had more journals, more papers she had barely skimmed. With determination building through her fear, Rachel headed back down the hallway. The study door creaked as she pushed it open again, the stale air meeting her like a cold breath. Dust motes swirled in thin beams of light filtering through the curtains. The large desk at the center remained cluttered with documents, her grandmother's rigid handwriting covering most of them. Rachel sifted through the pages, searching for structure, for order. The tension around her deepened, but she forced herself to focus. One journal entry mentioned that the doll had once been crafted to preserve memory. Another claimed the doll had grown stronger, but there was a missing piece to all of it. Something Eliza had tried to say before her notes dissolved into trembled scrawl. Rachel reached into the desk drawer. More papers, a box of brittle photographs, a small wooden case carved with swirling patterns that made her skin prickle. She ran her thumb across its lid, hesitating before opening it. Inside lay a stack of faded Polaroids. Her breath caught. Every photo showed a small girl sitting among a group of antique dolls. The dolls varied in size and shape, but one always sat in the center. Beautiful, porcelain, fragile yet imposing, its face too real, its eyes too deep. The girl in the photos was Rachel, the memories inside her strained, pushing against the boundaries of her mind. She remembered the dolls arranged in a circle. She remembered giggles that were not hers. She remembered her grandmother storming into the room, grabbing her by the shoulders, shouting that she must never look into that doll's eyes again. But why? Why had Eliza been so terrified? Before she could reach the answer, a soft tapping echoed from down the hallway. Tap, tap, tap. Rachel stiffened. The sound was measured, deliberate, not footsteps this time. Something smaller, something tapping against the wall or floor with slow, eerie patience. She tightened her grip on the flashlight and stepped cautiously back into the hall. The tapping grew louder. Tap, tap, tap. It was coming from behind the workshop door. Her pulse quickened. Daniel had warned her not to go near it, but something on the other side wanted her attention. The workshop was where her grandmother built, repaired, and collected dolls. It had always been locked when Rachel was a child. She had never seen inside. A whisper slithered through the door. Rachel, her name, sweet and soft, spoken with a voice that should not exist. Rachel backed away, her heart hammering violently against her ribs. The workshop door rattled. Something behind it pressed against the wood, testing its strength, its hinges, its patience. Rachel stumbled, bumping into the hallway table. Papers scattered across the floor. Her breathing became ragged, unsteady. She scrambled to gather herself, but the tapping intensified. Tap, 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 tap. Fast now, urgent. Rachel fled toward the living room, but as she rounded the corner, she froze. The cracked porcelain doll sat upright on the coffee table once again, but this time it was facing her directly. Its head tilted slightly to the side, its glassy eyes wide open, its lips curved upward in a faint smirk. Rachel's knees weakened. The phone slipped from her hand. The room swayed as a memory slammed into her mind with brutal force. A younger Rachel sitting in the workshop, the doll positioned inches from her face, someone whispering, "Tell her your secrets. She will keep them safe." She remembers all she sees. She saw herself leaning closer. She saw the doll's eyes brighten. She felt the whisper of cold breath that should not have existed. Rachel sucked in a sharp gasp as the memory faded. She stumbled backward, gripping the back of the sofa to steady herself. The doll's head twitched, barely, but it moved. A floorboard creaked above her. Something shifted in the attic. Daniel's warning echoed louder than ever. Do not go near the attic. A chill swept the room, extinguishing whatever warmth had remained. The hum of the house deepened, vibrating through the floor, the walls, her bones. Rachel backed toward the front door. She needed to get out. She needed air. She needed space to think. But as she reached for the handle, her phone buzzed from the floor. Unknown number. "She wants to see you." Rachel's breath caught. Another message appeared instantly. "Don't make her wait." The ceiling above her groaned. The attic door creaked open on its own, and something began descending the stairs, slowly, deliberately, remembering her with every step. The sound from the attic grew heavier with each step that descended, as though something measured, ancient, and patient was making its way toward Rachel with a certainty that stole the breath from her lungs. She backed away from the stairwell, her pulse pounding in her ears, every instinct in her screaming to flee. But fear rooted her in place, anchoring her to the floorboards that vibrated faintly under the shifting weight above. The attic door hung open like a gaping mouth at the top of the stairs. The darkness behind it seemed thicker than shadow, as if it were swallowing the weak daylight creeping through the windows. Rachel could not see what was moving, but she could hear it, slow, controlled, a deliberate rhythm that made her skin prickle. Whatever was descending was not human, but it moved with intention, with memory. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "Please, stop." She knew it was useless. She did not even know who she was addressing anymore. The next step groaned under the pressure of a small weight. Then another. Rachel felt the house breathe with her fear. She stumbled backward until her back collided with the living room wall. Her fingers scrambled across the surface until they found the edge of a small decorative shelf. She grabbed the first object. Her hand touched a heavy ceramic vase. It trembled in her grip. The house fell silent. The weight above paused. Rachel waited, lungs burning, as she forced herself not to look away from the staircase. The world felt suspended, held taut like a thread ready to snap. Then something small shifted at the top of the stairs, and a porcelain hand emerged. Rachel gasped, a sharp inhale that sliced through the stillness. The hand gripped the railing with soft precision, its pale fingers curling tightly around the wood. The cracked doll from downstairs slowly leaned into the faint light. A doll that should not walk, should not climb, should not descend stairs with patient intent. Its head lifted, its glass eyes fixed directly on Rachel. She dropped the vase. It shattered at her feet, shards scattering across the floor like fractured bones. The sound jolted her into motion. She ran. Her footsteps echoed down the hallway as she sprinted toward the front door, her breathing ragged, vision blurred by terror. She reached for the doorknob and twisted it hard. Lock! But she had not locked it. Her hands shook violently as she twisted the knob again. It didn't budge. Behind her, the faint tapping of porcelain toes on wood approached slowly, step by step, a sound too light to be human, too steady to belong to anything harmless. Rachel slammed her shoulder against the door. The frame rattled, but the door held firm. Panic surged up her throat, cold and suffocating. She stumbled backward, her eyes darting around the room for something, anything that resembled an escape. The window, she lunged toward it, gripping the old latches and forcing them upward. They screeched in protest. Stuck from years of rust and neglect, she shoved harder. The metal snapped loose with a sharp crack. She pushed the window open just enough to slip through. A voice whispered behind her. Rachel. She froze. The whisper was soft, young, and unmistakably closer than the stairs, closer than the hallway. It was right behind her. She turned slowly, dread crawling up her spine like a living thing. The doll stood only a few feet away. Its cracked cheek glinted, its head tilted toward her with an expression almost curious, almost longing, as though greeting her after a long absence. Rachel scrambled through the window, rain-slick wind slapping her face as she fell onto the porch roof. Her palms scraped against shingles as she slid down, desperately trying to keep her balance. She landed hard in the wet grass below, pain shooting up her ankle. But the pain was nothing compared to the relief of distance. She staggered to her feet, breath fogging in the frigid air. The house loomed over her, its windows dark and watchful. She backed away slowly, expecting the doll to emerge from the window at any moment. But nothing moved. The yard lay silent. The house waited. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She nearly dropped it, fumbling to pull it out. Unknown number. You cannot run from what remembers you. Her stomach twisted as she stared at the message. The world around her seemed to shrink, pulling her into a tightening space of dread and inevitability. Another message appeared instantly. Come back inside, Rachel. She dropped the phone as if it burned her skin. Her breath came in violent bursts. She turned toward the road, limping through the wet grass, determined to put as much distance between herself and the cursed house as she could. If she made it far enough, maybe she could find someone, anyone to help her. Maybe she could find Daniel before whatever haunted her memories found him too. But as she reached the old wooden gate, Her vision blurred again. A memory surged uninvited, sharp as broken glass. A workshop lit by a single lantern. A younger Rachel sitting on a stool, her grandmother pacing, the doll placed directly in front of her. Tell her your fears, sweetheart. She will keep them safe. Rachel felt herself whispering secrets she barely remembered. She watched the doll's eyes grow brighter. She heard faint giggling, her own voice layered with another. The memory fractured before resolving, leaving her gasping in the present. The rain slowed to a drizzle. The air grew colder. She turned onto the road, each step painful but determined. The street ahead stretched empty, lined with trees that seemed to lean inward as though listening. The silence of Briarford was unnatural, thick, oppressive. Even the wind refused to stir the branches. After several minutes of limping forward, she heard the soft crunch of gravel behind her. She froze. Another crunch followed. She turned slowly. Something stood at the edge of the road near her grandmother's house. A silhouette, small, motionless. The doll, not on the roof, not inside the house. Here, outside, Rachel stumbled backward, nearly falling. The doll didn't move. It simply stood in the dim light, its cracked face angled toward her, its posture oddly childlike. Rain collected on its porcelain skin, running down its cheeks like tears. Then its head twisted slowly to the side. Not human slow, mechanical slow, a dreadful, grinding slow. Rachel turned and ran as fast as her injured ankle allowed, pain shooting up her leg but fear propelling her forward. The world blurred around her. The trees, the road, the oppressive shadows clinging to every corner. Her phone buzzed again in her pocket. She ignored it and kept running until the outline of Briarford's small general store appeared ahead. Light shone faintly through the dusty windows. Relief flooded her, weak but real. She pushed the door open and stumbled inside. The bell above the entrance jingled softly. The store was dim, filled with shelves of canned goods and old tools. Behind the counter stood a middle-aged woman with deep-set eyes and a tense expression that softened only slightly when she saw Rachel. "Are you hurt?" the woman asked. Rachel nodded, breathless. I need help. Something is in my grandmother's house." The woman's face drained of color. Her hands trembled. She stepped around the counter, lowering her voice. "You should not have gone back there." Rachel swallowed. "You know something. Please tell me." The woman hesitated, glancing toward the darkened window as though afraid something might be listening. Finally, she whispered, "That doll is not just remembering you, Rachel. She is looking for what you left behind." Rachel's heart stopped. "What did I leave behind?" she asked. The woman shook her head slowly, fear clouding her gaze. "Your face," she whispered. "You left your face with her once, and she has been waiting to give it back." Rachel stared at the woman behind the counter, her mind struggling to process the words that seemed too impossible, too unreal, yet somehow too familiar to dismiss. "You left your face with her once." The sentence wrapped around her like cold wire, tightening with each passing second. Her voice came out thin. "What does that even mean?" The woman swallowed hard, her eyes reflecting years of secrets she wished she had never carried. "Not your physical face, not the one you wear now. I mean the face of who you were. The doll took it. She remembers what you forget. Rachel felt her stomach twist. She tried to speak, but her throat constricted. Her memories had been fractured for as long as she could recall, strange gaps in her childhood, blurred images she could never explain. She always assumed trauma, perhaps grief for her parents, perhaps some psychological wound she never healed. But now it felt different. It felt stolen. Outside, the rain softened to a mist. The store lights flickered, humming with a low, static buzz. The air tasted like tension, thick and charged. The woman motioned for Rachel to follow her deeper into the store. Come, not here. She listens. Rachel hesitated but stepped forward. The woman led her to a back storeroom, closing the door gently behind them. The room was cramped, shelves filled with boxes and canned supplies. A single bulb flickered overhead. "My name is Marlene," the woman said. "I knew your grandmother. Everyone in Briarford did, though not the truth of her work. Only a few of us saw the signs. The dolls she kept, the way she locked her workshop whenever the wind changed, the way she warned people to stay away from the attic." Rachel's breath trembled. What was she protecting me from? Marlene lowered her voice. "She wasn't protecting you from the doll." Her gaze darkened. "She was protecting the doll from you." Ice slid down Rachel's spine. "That makes no sense. Why would I ever be a threat to a doll?" "Because," Marlene said slowly, "you were the first one she ever chose, the first face she took. You bonded with her, or she bonded with you. I don't know if anyone ever figured that part out." Rachel shook her head. "No, this can't be real." But deep inside, something twisted. A memory, a whisper, a familiar cold hand holding hers. Marlene continued. "Your grandmother realized too late what had happened. The doll was made to preserve memories, but she grew hungry for more, for faces, for identity. She wanted to become what?" Marlene hesitated. "You." The bulb above them flickered violently, casting the room into a stuttered rhythm of light and shadow, as though the darkness itself were breathing. Rachel's pulse quickened. Something outside the storeroom creaked, then another sound. A dragging, slow, scraping, deliberate. Marlene stiffened. "She followed you." Rachel's heart pounded. "No, I left her by the road. I saw her standing there. You saw where she wanted you to see her." Marlene whispered. "She moves when unseen." The dragging grew louder. Something brushed against the outside of the door. Marlene grabbed Rachel's arm and pulled her to the far side of the room. "Do not open your eyes if she gets in here. If you look at her too long, she will take the rest of what she lost." Rachel felt the walls closing in. The tension was unbearable. She tried to steady her breath, but panic clawed at her ribs. The doorknob turned. Slowly, metal scraped against metal as the knob rotated with unnatural precision. Marlene held her breath. Rachel stepped back until her spine pressed against cold shelving. The bulb flickered faster now, each flash revealing the doorknob turning further. Then silence. The knob stopped halfway. Marlene exhaled shakily. Maybe the door blasted inward. Rachel screamed. Marlene yanked her behind a stack of boxes, pressing a hand over her mouth. Shards of wood sprinkled across the floor. Dim light spilled into the storeroom. room, and then a small shape crossed the threshold. A porcelain foot, then another. The doll stepped inside, its cracked cheek illuminated in the flickering light. Her glass eyes scanned the room with mechanical smoothness, her head turning in short, sharp movements. Rachel shut her eyes tight, but she could feel the doll's gaze move past her, then return, then linger. The air vibrated softly, as though the doll was humming without sound. Marlene's hand dug into Rachel's arm. The doll took a step closer, another. Its tiny feet made almost no sound, only soft taps against the concrete floor. Rachel's lungs ached from holding her breath. Then the doll spoke, not with a child's innocence, but with something older, something remembering. "You left me," it said in a voice that seemed to echo inside Rachel's skull. Rachel clenched her fists, fighting the instinct to look. The doll moved to her left. She could hear it brushing against boxes, hear porcelain fingers tapping the metal shelf beside her. "You forgot me," the doll whispered. "But I did not forget you." Marlene trembled beside her, but stayed silent. The doll paused, then gently, almost lovingly, it placed a cold porcelain hand against Rachel's ankle. Rachel gasped, and her eyes flew open. "Rachel, no!" Marlene hissed, but it was too late. Her gaze locked onto the doll, and the doll's eyes brightened. A flood of memories surged into Rachel's mind too fast, too violent. Her childhood face pressed close to the doll's, a ritual of whispered secrets. Her grandmother shouting, a dark workshop, shadows moving in rhythm, a voice telling her she belonged to the doll. Memories not just seen, but felt. Rachel tore her eyes away, collapsing to the floor in agony. Her breath came in ragged bursts. The doll stepped back, head tilted, studying her with eerie delight. "You remember," it said softly. Marlene seized the moment, grabbing a broom handle and thrusting it toward the doll. The porcelain figure leaped backward with unnatural speed, landing silently near the door. Marlene shouted, "Run!" Rachel stumbled to her feet, adrenaline surging through her veins. The two women sprinted through the storeroom door and down the narrow hallway of the general store. Shelves rattled as the doll chased after them, its footsteps fast, sharp, relentless. They burst through the front doors and into the open air. The rain had stopped, but fog crawled across the street like a living veil. "Hurry," Marlene urged, pulling Rachel toward an alley. Rachel's legs burned. Her mind spun. The pounding footsteps behind them blended with her racing pulse. They rounded the corner and stopped cold. Standing in the alleyway was another doll, and behind it, another and another. 3 porcelain figures, each with different cracks, different dresses, different lifeless expressions, but all with the same eyes, the eyes that remembered. Rachel stumbled back, breath stolen from her lungs. Marlene whispered, horror thick in her voice. She called them. Rachel felt the truth settle like ice. The doll was not alone, and she had brought others to reclaim the face Rachel once left behind, to reclaim what she believed was rightfully hers. Rachel staggered backward as the 3 dolls stood motionless in the alleyway, their cracked porcelain faces reflecting the faint street lamp glow like fragments of bone. Each doll was different, one tall with a long faded dress, one smaller with a shattered jawline, and one missing an eye entirely. But their glassy stares were identical, hollow, hungry. Remembering, Marlene instinctively placed an arm in front of Rachel, shielding her as though she could stop something that clearly did not obey the rules of the living. The alley was narrow, boxed in by brick walls that trapped the cold fog drifting across the ground. There was no path forward, and behind them, the tapping footsteps of the doll from the store drew closer. They were surrounded. "Marlene," Rachel whispered, her voice trembling like a frayed thread. "What do we do?" Marlene's jaw clenched, her breath sharp and shallow. "We don't let them touch us. We don't look into their eyes. And we run the moment there's an opening." An opening. Rachel saw none. The dolls were positioned with chilling precision, forming a barrier as deliberate as any human trap. The smallest doll tilted its head, the motion slow and creaking, like old wood bending against its nature. The one missing its eye took a single step forward. The air thickened with dread. Rachel didn't realize she was holding her breath until her lungs ached. Behind them, the tapping grew louder. The cracked doll approached, its porcelain feet tapping the pavement with unnatural rhythm. Trapped between four entities that should never have been able to move, Rachel felt her mind slipping toward panic. Marlene grabbed Rachel's wrist. "On my mark," she whispered. A doll's head twitched sharply. Marlene didn't wait for another signal. Now they ran toward the side of the alley, aiming for the narrow gap between trash bins. Rachel shoved one aside, metal screeching violently as it toppled. The dolls reacted instantly. The missing-eyed doll snapped its head toward them, its body jerking forward in sharp, unnatural movements. The smallest doll lunged. Rachel felt porcelain fingers graze her sleeve as she and Marlene squeezed through the gap and stumbled onto a side street. Cold air slapped Rachel's face. She inhaled sharply, her heart pounding so hard the world around her blurred. "Keep moving," Marlene shouted. They sprinted down the deserted street. Fog swallowed their path, turning houses into warped silhouettes. Street lamps flickered overhead like dying stars. Rachel's ankle throbbed fiercely, but adrenaline pushed her forward. Behind them, the soft clattering of porcelain feet echoed, multiplied by more than one. The dolls were following. Rachel's phone buzzed in her pocket. She ignored it and ran harder. As they rounded the corner, an old church came into view. Its windows were shattered, its steeple crooked, but it had walls, doors, places to hide. Marlene pointed toward it. Inside, they pushed through the heavy wooden doors, slamming them shut behind them. The interior was dark. Dust filled the air like swirling ash. Pews lay overturned. Candles, long melted, stood like skeletal remains on rusted stands. Rachel pressed her back against the door, trying to catch her breath. Can they get inside? Marlene shook her head, sweat beading on her forehead. They can follow. They always follow, but they cannot enter sacred ground unless. A loud knock rattled the door. Rachel flinched. Unless what? Marlene didn't answer, not out of fear, but because she didn't know. Rachel saw it in her eyes. Another knock. Slow, measured, the dolls had found them. Marlene pulled Rachel deeper into the church. They hid behind a row of pews. Though the space offered little comfort, the church seemed too quiet, too hollow, as though even faith had abandoned it long ago. Rachel swallowed hard. Why are they after me? Marlene hesitated. Because you were the first. Because you gave her something no one else did. What did I give her? Your trust, Marlene said gently, and your fear. She bonded with you. The others follow her call. Rachel felt a cold memory pulse through her. Whispered secrets in a workshop. The doll's eyes glowing faintly. Her grandmother pulling her away. A faint scraping sound echoed inside the church. Rachel's blood ran cold. They're inside. No, Marlene whispered, trembling. They shouldn't be able to. The scraping grew louder. Then a second sound joined it. A dragging, as though porcelain feet were being pulled across stone. Rachel's breath hitched. Where is it coming from? Marlene pointed upward with a trembling hand. The sound came from the balcony. Rachel turned slowly, her heart in her throat. Above them, the shadows twisted along the railing. Then something small, perched atop it, swung its legs over the edge. A doll, not one of the three from the alley, not the cracked one from the store. A new one. This one had long black hair and a dress torn down the middle, revealing porcelain ribs beneath. Its face was untouched, smooth and eerily perfect, except for its eyes. Its eyes shifted toward Rachel with unmistakable recognition. Rachel's breathing quickened. She backed away, but the doll did not climb down. It simply watched, its gaze heavy with memory. Marlene whispered, "She knows you. That one remembers something the others don't." Rachel whispered back, "That doesn't help." The doll on the balcony raised an arm. Instantly, the church doors blasted open. Rachel screamed as the cracked doll crawled through the entry, its movements jerky, frantic. The other three stepped through the doorway behind it. The church should have been protection, but the sacred ground meant nothing to creatures made of stolen faces and forgotten memories. Marlene grabbed Rachel. "We need to go. Now!" They ran down the aisle. The dolls moved in unnatural synchronization, spreading out to trap them again. Rachel's mind raced. The church had a back exit. She remembered seeing one earlier behind the pulpit. They sprinted toward it. The balcony doll leaped from above, landing on a pew with a shattering impact that sent wooden splinters flying. Rachel ducked as debris rained over her. The doll rose quickly, unharmed by the fall. Marlene reached the back door and shoved it open. Cold wind rushed inside. The fog outside was thicker now, swirling like a living curtain. "Hurry!" she shouted. Rachel sprinted, but the cracked doll was suddenly in front of her. It tilted its head and spoke. "You took something from me." Rachel froze, breath strangling in her throat. "I didn't. I don't remember. That is why I want it back." The doll hissed. Its glass eyes glowed bright white. Pain exploded behind Rachel's eyes. Memories she didn't recognize surged violently. She screamed, clutching her head. Marlene grabbed her, pulling her through the back door just as the dolls lunged. They stumbled into the fog, collapsing onto the wet ground. Rachel's skull felt like it was splitting open. Marlene shook her. "Stay with me." Rachel's vision blurred into whiteness. Shapes twisted, voices overlapped. The memory that forced itself to the surface was one she had never seen. A workshop, a ritual, a doll placed on a pedestal, a child's voice whispering, "Take my face, take all of me." Rachel gasped as the memory snapped, and she finally understood. She had not given the doll her face. She had offered it freely, and now the doll wanted the rest. The fog swallowed Rachel and Marlene as they stumbled away from the church, the world dissolving into a blur of gray and shifting shadows. The cold wrapped around them like a living thing, clinging to their skin, seeping into their bones. Rachel's vision flickered with after images of the memory that had forced itself into her mind, a memory she had never chosen to recall. A workshop, a ritual, a whispered offering, her own voice asking the doll to take her face. The echo of that forgotten self pulsed painfully, throbbing with each heartbeat. Marlene kept one arm around Rachel, guiding her forward through the thick fog. "Stay with me, Rachel. Keep moving." Rachel stumbled, dizzy, her thoughts unraveling. "I offered it. I gave it to her willingly. Why would I do that? Why would I give anything to something like her?" "You were a child," Marlene said, her voice strained. "Children trust what looks back at them with their own face." Rachel felt sick. The idea that she had once bonded with the doll willingly twisted inside her like a knife. The memory wasn't complete, but it was enough to terrify her, enough to reveal the truth she had spent decades forgetting. "She took what you offered," Marlene continued, "and she has been waiting for you to return so she can finish what she started." The fog thickened until Marlene's outline became a mere shadow. Rachel blinked hard, trying to clear her head. "Where are we going?" "Somewhere safe," Marlene said. "If that even exists anymore." A soft tapping sound echoed through the fog. Rachel froze. The tapping was faint but unmistakable. Delicate. "Porcelain." Marlene tightened her grip. "We need to hurry." They pushed forward until the fog thinned slightly, revealing the faint outline of a house at the end of a narrow lane. Its windows were boarded, its chimney cracked. It looked abandoned, forgotten by time itself. Marlene rushed toward it. This way. They reached the door. Marlene produced a rusty key and unlocked it. Rachel hesitated. "How do you have a key to this place?" Marlene didn't answer. She pushed the door open and ushered Rachel inside. The interior was dim, lit only by the faintest remnants of daylight leaking through the boards. Dust coated everything. Old furniture sat like ghosts, frozen mid-motion. The house felt cold, but not in the way the doll's presence made things cold. This coldness was natural, empty, human. Marlene shut the door and locked it. "This is one of the old safe houses. People used it years ago when things got bad in Briarford. Before your grandmother stopped everything." Rachel's heart pounded. "Stopped everything, huh?" "She hid the doll," Marlene said. "She trapped her, but it was never permanent. Dolls don't stay where they're put." Rachel leaned against the wall, her breath uneven. "Marlene, what exactly is she? Marlene looked at her with a mix of fear and reverence. She is a vessel, a keeper, a guardian of memory twisted into something else, something that learned to crave faces. She remembers everyone she has seen, and she copies them, takes pieces of them, builds herself from their identity. Rachel swallowed, and she wants the rest of mine. She wants what you gave her. Marlene corrected. She wants to finish the bond you started. A sudden knock rattled the door. Both women jumped. Rachel's breath hitched. Marlene whispered. She followed us. That fast, the knock came again. Soft, gentle, a child's knock. Rachel covered her mouth to stop a scream. Another knock followed, then a voice. Rachel. It was not loud. It was not angry. It was soft, longing, familiar in a way that made Rachel's stomach twist. Rachel stepped backward. She's right outside. Don't answer, Marlene whispered. Don't speak. The voice came again. Let me in. Rachel. Rachel's eyes widened. She knows my name. She always knew my name. She remembers you better than anyone. Marlene said. A scraping sound ran along the wall, traveling around the exterior of the house. Porcelain fingers dragged across wood. The sound circled the house like a predator stalking prey. Rachel's fear deepened. Marlene pulled Rachel toward the center of the room. We need to hide. But as they reached the hallway, Rachel saw something at the far end. A silhouette, small, doll-sized. It stood perfectly still, half hidden by shadows. Rachel froze. Marlene. She's inside. Marlene spun around. No, she couldn't have. The silhouette moved. Marlene grabbed Rachel's hand, pulling her toward the kitchen. There's a cellar. Hide there. They rushed to the trapdoor in the floor. Marlene lifted it quickly. The darkness below was deep, silent. Unsettling. Rachel hesitated. That thing is inside the house, Marlene whispered. Go! Rachel lowered herself into the darkness. Marlene followed, pulling the trapdoor closed above them. The cellar plunged into blackness. Marlene lit a small lantern. A warm glow filled the small underground space. The cellar was cramped, filled with old crates and jars coated with dust. The air was thick and stale. Stay quiet, Marlene whispered. Dolls can hear what humans cannot. Rachel pressed herself into a corner. Her mind raced with images of the dolls in the church, their glowing eyes, their unnatural movement. Above them, footsteps moved through the kitchen, slow, deliberate. Porcelain feet clicking lightly on the floorboards. Rachel squeezed her eyes shut, trying to control her breathing. The footsteps moved toward the trapdoor, then stopped. Silence swelled. Marlene clenched her jaw, sweat gathering on her brow. Rachel whispered, she knows. The trapdoor creaked. A porcelain hand slid through the crack. Rachel's breath caught. The hand tapped softly on the wood, as though politely knocking. Rachel, her name echoed through the cellar, reverberating against the walls, spoken in a voice that carried both innocence and hunger. Marlene gripped Rachel's arm. Don't move. A second porcelain hand appeared. Then the lid began to lift. Rachel bit back a scream as the lantern flickered. The trapdoor rose higher, and a cracked porcelain face peered down into the cellar. Its glass eyes glowed faintly, reflecting Rachel's trembling form. "You left your face with me," the doll whispered. "I came to return it." Rachel shook violently. "I don't want it. I don't want anything from you." The doll tilted its head. "Then I will take the rest." It pushed the trapdoor higher. Marlene lunged forward, slamming the lantern into the doll's face. The porcelain cracked sharply. The doll recoiled with an eerie, mechanical jerk and tumbled backward. "Run!" Marlene screamed. They climbed out of the cellar, adrenaline fueling their movements. The doll scrambled to its feet, its cracked face more distorted than ever, anger radiating from its hollow eyes. They sprinted to the back door, threw it open, and vanished into the fog once more. But as they fled, Rachel heard a sound behind them, multiple footsteps. Many more dolls had arrived, and they were all coming for her. Fog wrapped itself around Rachel and Marlene as they ran, swallowing their silhouettes and drowning the world in shifting gray. The night felt alive, each gust of wind carrying whispers from memories Rachel wished she could erase. Her heart pounded as footsteps multiplied behind them, the sound of porcelain tapping on wet pavement growing louder. Faster, closer. The dolls were not merely following, they were hunting. Rachel struggled to breathe, each inhale burning her throat. Where do we go now? We can't keep running forever. Marlene grabbed her wrist, pulling her forward. There's only one place left, the old mill on the edge of town. Your grandmother used it for her final attempt to contain the doll before she locked her away. If there is anything that can help us, it's there. Rachel's thoughts swirled in chaos. What did she do there? She tried to sever your bond, Marlene said. She tried everything, but your grandmother was working against something much older than she knew. A cold shiver crawled up Rachel's spine. Older than her. How old is the doll? Older than Briarford, Marlene whispered. Older than any house she's lived in. Dolls pass hands. Memories pass with them. The fog thinned briefly, and the outline of the abandoned mill appeared, a towering structure of rotting beams and shattered windows. The wooden wheel beside it sagged, broken and motionless. Weeds climbed the walls like veins. The entire building looked ready to collapse under the weight of its own secrets. Marlene ushered Rachel through a side door. Inside, the air was colder. Dust thickened the silence. Machinery, rusted and skeletal, lined the walls. Wooden planks creaked beneath their feet. "Stay quiet," Marlene whispered. Rachel nodded, but the quiet was broken anyway. Tap, tap, tap. The dolls had arrived. Rachel ducked behind a pile of broken crates. Her pulse thundered in her ears. She pressed a hand over her mouth to steady her breathing. Through a crack in the boards, she watched the doorway. Several small silhouettes appeared, each pausing before stepping inside. Their glass eyes gleamed in the faint moonlight. The cracked doll entered last. Its head turned slowly, searching the darkness with eerie patience. Rachel trembled. "They know we're here. They can sense you," Marlene whispered back. "They follow your memories like a trail. Wherever you've been, they can find. Why me? Why am I tied to this thing so strongly?" "Because you were chosen." Rachel shook her head. "I didn't choose anything. I was a child. You chose with your fear, Marlene said softly. Fear binds faster than love. Rachel felt her stomach twist. The memory from earlier, the ritual, the offering pulsed in her mind. She had asked the doll to take her face. She had given it willingly. A crack echoed through the mill as a wooden beam shifted. Dust rained from above. The dolls halted, their heads turned upward. Rachel followed their gaze. The rafters above groaned. A shadow moved along them. Not a doll, something larger. A figure emerged into a sliver of moonlight, filtering through the broken roof. Rachel's breath caught. Daniel, he crouched on the beam, gripping it with both hands for balance. His hair was damp from fog, his face pale, his eyes wide but determined. He held a long metal pipe like a weapon. Rachel gasped. Daniel, Marlene grabbed her arm. Quiet, but Daniel had already seen them. With a swift motion, he leaped down onto a lower platform, landing with a thud that shook dust from the walls. The dolls turned as one, their glass eyes locked onto him. Daniel shouted, "Run!" Rachel didn't need to be told twice. She scrambled to her feet and bolted toward him, Marlene following close behind. But the cracked doll lunged first, its porcelain feet clattering across the floor with terrifying speed. Daniel swung the metal pipe. The strike connected with a sharp crack, sending the doll skidding across the floor. Its head twisted unnaturally, but it rose again almost immediately. "They don't break easily," Daniel shouted. Rachel reached him, breathless. "What are you doing here?" "You called me," Daniel said. "Not with your phone, with your fear." Rachel didn't understand. "My fear. You bonded with her. She knows your fear better than you do, and she projects it. I felt it. I followed it." The cracked doll darted toward them again. Daniel pushed Rachel behind him. He swung the pipe once more, but this time the doll dodged with impossible speed. It grabbed the pipe with cold porcelain fingers and yanked it from his grip. Daniel stumbled. "Run to the workshop." Marlene froze. "The workshop? We can't. We have no choice." Daniel snapped. "There's something there your grandmother left behind for Rachel." The dolls were closing in now. The smallest one crawled along the floor like a spider, its limbs bending in unnatural ways. Another climbed up the wall, clinging with sharp porcelain fingertips. Rachel felt her breath hitch. What did my grandmother leave? Something stronger than memory. Daniel answered, "Something the doll fears." Rachel's heart pounded. What does she fear? Nothing stops her. The truth, Daniel whispered, and the face she hasn't taken yet. The cracked doll lunged. Daniel grabbed Rachel's arm and pulled her toward a narrow staircase at the back of the mill. Marlene followed, yelling, "Hurry! They're coming up the walls." Rachel's legs trembled as she climbed, the wooden stairs groaning with each step. Behind them, the dolls swarmed, crawling, climbing, dragging themselves closer. They reached the upper floor where old tools, dusty shelves, and scattered pages lay untouched for years. Daniel rushed to a desk in the corner and pulled open a drawer. Inside lay a wooden box carved with intricate swirling patterns, the same designs Rachel had seen in her grandmother's journals. Daniel thrust it into her hands. "Take it. Whatever is inside is meant for you." Rachel hesitated. The box felt heavy, charged with something ancient, something familiar. The dolls reached the top of the stairs. Marlene screamed, "Open it!" Rachel lifted the lid. Inside was a porcelain mask, smooth, pale, shaped exactly like her face. Her breath caught. "What is this?" she whispered. Daniel's face was grim. "Your grandmother tried to protect you by separating your face from your memory. The doll took one. She hid the other." Rachel stared at the mask, horror twisting inside her. "Why would she hide my face?" "To keep the doll from taking all of you." The cracked doll stepped onto the platform, its eyes glowing brighter now. Daniel grabbed Rachel's arm. "Put it on." Rachel hesitated. "What if it takes over me? What if this is what the doll wants?" Daniel looked into her eyes. "Rachel, you have pieces of yourself missing. That's why she always finds you. You're incomplete. The mask holds what you lost." Below them, dozens of dolls gathered. Their voices whispered in unison. "Rachel, Rachel, Rachel." Rachel lifted the mask with trembling hands. The cracked doll charged, and Rachel placed the mask against her face. As soon as the porcelain mask touched Rachel's skin, the world shattered into blinding white. A roaring pressure filled her skull, as if every memory she had ever forgotten surged forward all at once, trying to force its way back into her mind. The mill around her disappeared. The dolls, Daniel, Marlene, all dissolved into a swirling vortex of light and fractured echoes. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. The mask felt alive against her face, warm and pulsing like a second heartbeat. It tightened, molding itself to her skin. Rachel clawed at it instinctively, but her fingers passed through the surface like it was smoke, intangible yet suffocating. Then the memories came. They didn't rise gently. They crashed into her like waves made of glass. She saw herself as a child sitting in her grandmother's workshop, surrounded by dolls watching her from shelves. Tables, boxes, their eyes glowed faintly in the candlelight. The forbidden doll sat before her, beautiful, pristine, alive. Her younger self leaned in. "You look like me." The doll blinked. Rachel's heart pounded as the vision continued. Her younger self whispered secrets into the doll's ear, things she had forgotten she ever knew. She saw her grandmother burst into the room, panic contorting her face. "Rachel, get away from her." Her grandmother grabbed her, pulling her back, eyes full of terror as she stared at the doll. "She remembers too much," Eliza whispered. "She takes too much." Rachel was dragged from the room, screaming for the doll, begging to stay with her. The bond tightened, even as her grandmother slammed the workshop door behind them. The scene warped into another. Rachel saw herself alone in the workshop days later. Having sneaked in while her grandmother slept, she approached the doll again. Her small hands cupped the doll's cold face. "You can have mine," she whispered, "if you keep me safe forever." Light burst from the doll's eyes. Rachel screamed as she felt something pulled from her, something essential. The world dimmed. Her own face blurred in her reflection. Her grandmother found her collapsed on the floor, not her face. Eliza cried, not her face. The memory twisted into another moment. Eliza, crafting the porcelain mask in desperation, carving protective symbols into its edges, whispering prayers Rachel didn't recognize. She must wear it someday, her grandmother murmured. She must remember what she gave away. The mask was meant to protect her. It was meant to return her identity. But now, as the memories surged through her in violent waves, Rachel realized it was also unlocking something. The bond, the connection between her and the doll pulsed like a living thread, glowing through the darkness. She could feel the doll's presence, its mind, its hunger. She could feel its memories too, as though the mask connected them. She saw through the doll's eyes. She saw Rachel as a child touching its face. She saw her grandmother locking it away. She saw decades of darkness and waiting. She saw the moment Rachel re-entered the house. The doll whispered in the vision, "I remember you." Rachel tore herself out of the memory with a gasp. The white vortex shattered. Reality rushed back like a cold wave. She collapsed onto the mill floor. The mask still fused to her face. Her breathing was shaky but slow. She felt heavy, full, complete. Daniel knelt beside her. "Rachel, can you hear me?" She nodded weakly. Marlene hovered nearby. Terror etched across her face. Rachel reached up. Her fingers touched the mask, and this time she felt it. Solid, real, porcelain against her skin. She pulled it away gently. The mask detached with a soft sigh, like an exhale from something living. Rachel stared at it, breathless. The inside of the mask now bore a faint imprint of her younger face, as though it remembered the child she once was. Daniel whispered, "Are you all right?" Rachel nodded slowly. "I remember what happened. I know what I gave her." The dolls stood motionless at the staircase below, their eyes glowing faintly, but they did not move. They watched her, waited. The cracked doll stood at the front of the group, trembling slightly as if sensing the shift. "You came back to me," it said, voice soft and childlike. Rachel rose to her feet, mask trembling in her hands. "I know who you are now." The doll's eyes widened. "I know what I gave you," Rachel continued, "and I know what you took." The doll stepped forward, its movements slower, more hesitant than before. "You offered your face. You offered yourself." Rachel breathed deeply. "I was a child. I didn't know what I was giving, but you did." The doll whispered, "That is why I have waited. We belong to each other." Rachel trembled. "No, I don't belong to you." The dolls behind the cracked one shifted, their heads tilting in unison. Daniel stepped forward cautiously. "Rachel, be careful." But Rachel felt something changing inside her. The influx of memories had not only restored what she'd lost, it had awakened something else, a strength, a presence that had been dormant since childhood. She looked at the cracked doll and whispered, "I can hear you." The doll's eyes shimmered. "Then you remember the bond." Rachel shook her head. "I remember enough to break it." Marlene grabbed her arm. "Rachel, what are you doing?" Rachel stepped away from her, clutching the porcelain mask. "I have to finish what my grandmother started." She lifted the mask. The dolls recoiled as if burned. The cracked doll's voice trembled. "No, that belongs to me." Rachel took a step forward. No, it belongs to me, and now I'm taking it back. A ripple of emotion passed through the doll's fear. Rachel had never imagined dolls could feel fear, but she saw it in the trembling of their limbs, the cracking of their voices, the flicker in their eyes. Daniel whispered, "Whatever you're thinking, do it." Rachel raised the mask high. Light burst from it, flooding the mill in blinding brilliance. The dolls shrieked sharp, glassy screams that pierced the air. They stumbled backward, as though the mask pulled threads of memory out of them, unraveling their stolen identities. The cracked doll collapsed. "Rachel," it whispered weakly, "don't leave me in the dark again." Rachel closed her eyes. The bond between them pulsed thin, fraying, breaking. She whispered, "Goodbye," and the cracked doll shattered into porcelain dust. The mill was silent after the cracked doll shattered, the air trembling with the echo of its final whispered plea. Porcelain dust settled across the wooden floor like pale snow, drifting in slow spirals lit by the weak moonlight from the broken roof. Rachel stared at the place where the doll had collapsed, her chest rising and falling with uneven breaths. Her hands still tingled with the fading warmth of the mask she had used to break the bond. But something was wrong. The other dolls, dozens of them, stood perfectly still along the staircase and scattered across the mill floor. Yet none of them moved toward her. Their eyes no longer glowed. Their bodies no longer twitched with unnatural life. They were still frozen like ordinary toys without purpose or memory. Marlene stepped forward cautiously. "Rachel, what did you do?" Rachel lowered the mask, her hands trembling. I think I cut the connection." She used the bond to animate the others. When it broke, they lost their link to her. Daniel exhaled shakily, looking from Rachel to the inert dolls. "So it's over." Rachel wanted to believe that. She wanted to collapse onto the dusty floor and release every ounce of terror that had twisted through her body for hours. But as she stared at the porcelain dust, she felt something stir in her chest, a faint pull, a whisper of the bond that had not fully vanished. She shook her head. "No, it's not over." The cracked doll, she was only one vessel, a fragment, the real one. My doll from childhood, she's still out there. Marlene paled. Then she'll come for you with twice the hunger. Once a doll loses its body, it seeks another. Rachel closed her eyes. All the restored memories pulsed behind them like distant lightning. The ritual, the offering, her grandmother's desperation, the way the doll's eyes glowed when it accepted what she had given. The bond was not just emotional, it was spiritual, etched into the very fabric of her childhood self. Daniel placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. "Rachel, whatever comes next, you're not facing it alone." She didn't trust her voice enough to respond. Instead, she nodded slightly. A gust of wind rattled the mill doors. Outside, the fog thickened again, swirling like restless spirits pressing against the world. A faint sound seeped through the broken windows, a dragging noise, slow and scraping, as though something heavy was being pulled across the ground. Rachel's blood ran cold. "She's coming." The dragging sound grew louder, then a faint rhythm joined it. Tap, drag, tap, Drag, Marlene whispered. She found a new body, a stronger one. Daniel grabbed the metal pipe again, bracing himself as he moved toward the door. We need to leave. Now! Rachel clutched the porcelain mask. The smooth surface felt heavier than before, almost pulsing with a heartbeat that wasn't hers. She didn't know if it was a weapon or a curse. Maybe it was both. They descended the stairs rapidly, stepping around the motionless dolls. Porcelain eyes stared emptily ahead, lifeless now that the cracked doll no longer fueled them. The silence felt deceptive, as if they were only sleeping. When they reached the bottom level, Daniel peered through a gap in the wall. His face tightened. She's not alone. Rachel stepped closer. Outside, the fog parted just enough to reveal a silhouette. A tall doll, this time nearly life-size, dressed in tattered lace and old funeral garments. Its porcelain skin was flawless, unmarred by cracks. But its eyes burned like two white embers in the fog. Behind it, several smaller dolls trailed like children following their mother. They moved with perfect synchronization, their heads turning in unison toward the mill. Marlene's voice cracked. That's the original one. The one your grandmother trapped. The vessel that holds the oldest memories. Rachel felt a cold shudder scrape along her spine. She's wearing a new face. Yes, Marlene whispered, but she still remembers the one she wants. The life-size doll stepped closer, its movement eerily graceful. It raised an arm and pointed directly at the mill. Daniel grabbed Rachel's wrist. Back door. Now they slipped through a narrow exit behind the mill, emerging onto a narrow trail lined with dead grass. The air was colder here, sharper, tasting of lost things. The fog muted the world, wrapping the landscape in soft gray distortion. Rachel ran with the others, her ankle throbbing, her breath ragged, but the bond she had once shared with the doll tugged at her, pulling faintly like a hook buried deep within her memory. She's following us, Rachel said. I can feel her. Marlene looked horrified. The bond isn't broken entirely. I broke it with the cracked doll, Rachel said, but the original bond is deeper, older. Daniel tightened his grip on the pipe. Then we need to sever it completely. How do we do that? Rachel stared at the mask in her hands. The carvings glowed faintly in the dark, matching the pulse she felt in her chest. My grandmother believed the mask was the key. It holds the part of me the doll couldn't take, so putting it on made you whole again, Daniel asked. Rachel shook her head. Not whole, just awakened. The ground trembled softly. Drag, tap, drag, tap. The sound followed them, relentless. They reached a clearing where the fog thinned enough to reveal towering trees twisted by age and neglect. In the center of the clearing stood a stone circle, moss-covered, carved with strange symbols that matched the ones on the mask. Rachel froze. I know this place, Marlene gasped. Your grandmother brought you here once, didn't she? Rachel nodded slowly. This is where she first tried to sever the bond. Daniel looked around warily. Then maybe we can finish what she started. But Rachel wasn't sure. She felt the pull of the doll growing stronger. The bond tugged at her, urging her to return to what she had once offered willingly. She felt memories at the edge of her mind, memories of playing in this clearing, of hearing whispers in the wind, of seeing the doll standing at the edge of the trees, watching with patient hunger. The fog parted behind them. The life-size doll stepped into the clearing. Its new face gleamed in the moonlight, perfect and expressionless. But its eyes were Rachel's, not her current ones, her younger ones, wide, innocent, hopeful. The girl she used to be stared back at her. Rachel stumbled backward. She took my childhood face. The doll spoke, voice soft as breath. I kept it safe, just like you asked. Daniel raised the pipe. Stay behind me. The dolls behind the life-size one spread out in a semicircle, blocking every exit. Their movements were fluid, almost graceful. They bowed their heads in eerie synchrony as the life-size doll approached. I waited for you, the doll whispered. Many years, many bodies, many memories. I kept your face until you returned for it. Rachel clutched the mask. I didn't come for it. I came to end this. You cannot end what you began. The doll said, we are bound. You gave me a part of you. Now you take the rest. Rachel felt the final truth settle inside her, heavy and undeniable. The only way to break the bond completely was to reclaim everything she had given, even the part the doll now wore. Daniel stepped forward, ready to swing, but Rachel grabbed his arm. No, this is between me and her, Marlene whispered, terrified. Rachel, you can't face her alone. Rachel lifted the porcelain mask high, its glow intensified, burning through the fog. The life-size doll stepped closer, unafraid. Give it to me, it whispered. Give me what is mine. Rachel whispered back. It was never yours, and she placed the mask against her feel once more. When the porcelain mask touched Rachel's face for the second time, the world did not explode into white like before. Instead, everything narrowed into a quiet, suffocating darkness. It pressed tightly around her, almost gentle, almost welcoming, as though the mask were folding her into a space she once belonged to. She did not fall. She did not scream. She simply stood, suspended between herself and the memories she had tried her whole life to forget. Then a voice whispered in the darkness. Rachel, soft, familiar, her own voice, her younger one. Rachel opened her eyes. She stood in her grandmother's workshop, but not as it was in life. Here it was pristine, untouched by dust or time. Shelves lined with porcelain heads and delicate limbs glowed faintly under candlelight. The air hummed with magic, old and heavy, and in the center of the room was the doll, the original one. Perfect, white, smooth, wearing the face of Rachel's childhood. The child face smiled at her. You came home. Rachel swallowed hard. This isn't home. It was, the doll whispered. You just forgot. Memories surged again. Rachel at 5 years old, sitting across from the doll, whispering stories and fears and secrets. They talked as if they were equals, companions, mirror and reflection. Rachel had believed the doll understood her in ways no one else could. The doll stepped forward. You gave me your face, and I gave you aura. Rachel backed away. You took pieces of me, I preserved them, the doll said. Memories fade. Dolls do not. The walls flickered. Rachel glimpsed the real world bleeding through the stone clearing. Daniel shouting her name. Marlene backing away from the advancing dolls. But the darkness closed again, sealing her inside the ritual memory space created by the mask. The doll circled her slowly. Your grandmother feared me. She thought memory was a curse. But you saw me before she taught you to be afraid. Rachel clenched her fists. I was a child. You were honest. The doll corrected. Children are not afraid of reflections. Rachel forced herself to meet the doll's gaze. Why did you want my face? The doll paused, its porcelain lips curved into a thoughtful, chilling smile. Because you wanted to give it. You wanted someone to keep your fears, your secrets, your sadness. You wanted to trust something that would never forget you. Rachel felt the truth twist inside her chest. And now what? You want the rest of me? The doll's eyes glowed softly. I want you to be whole. I want us to be one again. Rachel's breath caught. I'm not yours. You are what you remember, the doll said. And you remember me. Rachel tore the mask from her face. The workshop vanished. She stood once more in the clearing, gasping for breath. The trees swayed gently, fog swirling around her ankles. The life-size doll loomed only a few feet away, its stolen child face unreadable. Daniel rushed toward her. Rachel, did it work? What happened? Marlene watched Rachel with wide, terrified eyes. Did you sever the bond? Rachel shook her head slowly. No, not yet, because she finally understood something. The mask did not sever the bond. The mask revealed it. The doll extended a porcelain hand toward her. Rachel, come back. Rachel felt the pull deep, ancient, emotional. The bond tugged at her like a thread woven through her soul. If she didn't resist, she knew she would step forward. And once she crossed that invisible line, there would be no coming back. Daniel gripped her arm. Fight it, Rachel whispered. I'm trying. The life-size doll tilted its head. You don't need to try. You were mine long before memory tore us apart. Rachel's eyes burned. Why me? Because you offered yourself, the doll said simply. And I accepted. Marlene stepped forward with trembling resolve. Rachel, listen to me. You have something she doesn't. Rachel turned. What choice? Marlene said. You can choose to break what you made as a child. Your fear made the bond. Your will can break it. Daniel nodded fiercely. Use the part of you she can't control. Your memory doesn't belong to her anymore. Rachel looked down at the porcelain mask in her hands. Its glow pulsed faintly like a heartbeat, but this time she felt something new within it. Strength instead of fear. Rachel stepped toward the doll. Daniel reached for her. Rachel, wait. It's okay, Rachel said softly. I know what I'm doing. The life-size doll watched her approach, its childlike face twisting into an expression of anticipation. The smaller dolls behind it leaned forward, as though preparing for the bond to snap into place again. Rachel stopped inches from the tall doll. The doll lifted her porcelain hand to touch Rachel's cheek. Rachel raised the mask. The doll's eyes widened. "What are you doing?" Rachel whispered. "You always wanted my face, but the mask is my true face now, and I'm not giving it to you." She slammed the mask against the doll's chest. The clearing exploded with light. The doll staggered back, screaming a shrill, glassy wail that vibrated through the ground. Cracks laced across its porcelain body, spreading like lightning. Its stolen child face warped, distorting as though melting under the light. "No!" it shrieked. "That is mine. You gave it to me," Rachel shouted back, "and I'm taking it back." She pressed the mask harder into the doll. Light burst from every crack, every seam. The smaller dolls convulsed, collapsing to the ground like rag dolls losing their threads. The life-size doll clawed at its face. "Stop! Stop!" Rachel didn't stop. The porcelain body fractured. The mask absorbed each fragment of memory ripped from the doll, glowing brighter and brighter until Rachel could barely hold it. Daniel shielded his eyes. "Rachel!" Marlene screamed. "Drop it!" But Rachel held on. "I end this," she whispered. The doll's body shattered. The clearing went silent as porcelain dust drifted through the air. Rachel collapsed to her knees. The mask lay in her hands. But now it was blank, smooth, empty. Rachel stared at it, breathless. It took everything from her. All the faces, all the memory, all the power. "It's gone." Daniel knelt beside her. "Rachel, are you okay?" She nodded slowly, though tears slid down her cheeks. "It's finally over." Marlene scanned the clearing cautiously. "Is it truly gone?" Rachel exhaled. "Yes, she has nothing left." But as she lowered the mask, she noticed something. A faint outline, a shadow forming on the porcelain surface. Her younger face. "Rachel," Daniel whispered, noticing her expression. Rachel's hands trembled because the mask was changing, and the doll's last whisper echoed faintly in her mind. "We are what we remember." For a long moment, the clearing was silent, except for the faint whisper of drifting porcelain dust. Rachel knelt in the cold grass, clutching the mask that had once held the power to bind, break, and restore what she had lost. Now it stared back at her with a smooth surface blank, empty, yet slowly forming the faint outline of her younger face. A face she had forgotten, a face she wasn't sure she wanted to remember. Daniel hovered beside her, breathless, eyes scanning the tree line for movement. "Rachel, what's happening to the mask?" Marlene stepped closer, cautiously watching the porcelain as it shimmered with a faint glow. "It's reshaping itself. But why?" "The doll is gone. She's dead." Rachel didn't answer. A cold wind stirred the air around them, brushing through her hair like a familiar touch. She felt the remnants of the bond flicker inside her. Even broken, it pulsed faintly, an echo of something older than her memories. "No," Rachel whispered. "She's not gone. Not completely." Daniel stiffened, but the doll shattered. "We saw it." Her body shattered. Rachel said, "Not her memory, not her essence." Marlene swallowed. "Dolls don't die the way we think. They don't live the way we think. They persist." Rachel stared at the mask's surface. The faint outline of her childhood face grew clearer, sharpening, taking form, as though something inside the mask remembered her better than she remembered herself. Daniel knelt beside her. "Rachel, talk to us. What do you feel?" Rachel hesitated. "I feel her." The words sent a chill through Marlene. How? The bond broke. We all saw it. Bonds don't vanish, Rachel murmured. They unravel, they shift, and now she's inside the mask. Marlene took a step back. If that's true, then the mask is dangerous. You should destroy it. Rachel tightened her grip instinctively. I can't. If I destroy it, I destroy what's left of me. Daniel frowned. What does that mean? Rachel stood slowly, feeling the mask pulse softly in her hands. My grandmother carved this mask using pieces of my identity, the parts I gave away, the parts the doll took. Now everything is inside it, hers and mine. And if you destroy it, you destroy yourself, Daniel whispered. Rachel nodded once. The fog around them thickened again, darkening the edges of the clearing. A faint hum vibrated through the air, not loud, not menacing, but undeniably present. Something was waking up. Marlene backed away, panic rising in her eyes. Rachel, we need to leave. Daniel grabbed Rachel's arm. Come on! But Rachel didn't move. Her gaze was fixed on the mask, which now displayed her young face fully more detailed, more lifelike than a memory had any right to be. Its eyes, though blank, held a strange depth, as if waiting for something or someone. Then the ground trembled beneath them. A low cracking sound spread through the clearing. The moss-covered stones around the ritual circle shifted. Ancient carvings glowed faintly blue, illuminating the fog with eerie patterns. Marlene gasped. The circle. It's activating. Rachel's heartbeat thundered. It's responding to the mask. Cracks spiderwebbed across the stones, releasing faint streams of cold air from beneath the earth. The wind whipped around them, spiraling toward Rachel as if drawn to her. The fog tightened, forming a funnel of swirling gray. Daniel held on to her. Rachel, drop the mask. I can't, she whispered. It knows me. A voice drifted through the fog. Rachel, soft, familiar, childlike. Rachel's blood ran cold. It wasn't the doll's voice. It was hers, her younger self. The air thickened until even breathing felt heavy. Rachel clutched the mask tightly, struggling to steady herself. Images flashed behind her eyes, her childhood room, her grandmother's workshop. The first moment she touched the doll, the secret she whispered to it, the fear she tried to hide. The fog parted. A small silhouette appeared inside the glowing ritual circle. A child, a little girl wearing the same blue dress Rachel once wore. She stood barefoot on the stones, her hair tangled, her head tilted slightly as she studied Rachel with wide, innocent eyes. Daniel's voice cracked. Rachel, that's you. The child took a step forward, and the stones brightened under her feet. Marlene whispered, horrified. It's her childhood memory, the part the doll kept. Rachel could barely breathe. She took my face, my voice, my innocence, and now she's giving it back. The child Rachel looked up at her with a knowing expression. You left me, the child said softly. Rachel blinked back tears. I didn't know. I forgot you existed. You left me with her, the child whispered. She kept me safe. She kept me trapped. A sharp ache stabbed Rachel's chest. I'm here now. I came back for you. The child tilted her head. Did you come back? or did she bring you? The question cut deeper than any blade. The child took another step forward. She was close enough now that Rachel could see the faint shimmer of porcelain at the edges of her small hands. She wasn't entirely human. She wasn't entirely memorable. She was something in between, a fusion of what Rachel had given and what the doll had shaped. Daniel stepped in front of Rachel. Stay away from her. The child blinked. You're protecting her from herself, Marlene whispered, trembling. Rachel, she's not your memory. She's the doll's memory of you. Rachel's heart splintered. The child smiled faintly. Do you want me back? Rachel hesitated. If she said yes, she invited the doll's influence deeper into her soul. If she said no, she abandoned the last piece of the child she once was. The ground trembled harder. The circle glowed brighter. The child lifted her porcelain-tinged hand. If you take me, she whispered, you take everything. The fear, the bond, the darkness she left inside me. Rachel's hands shook. I don't want the darkness. You can't take the light without the shadow. The child whispered, you can't become whole unless you accept all of me. Daniel grabbed her shoulders. Rachel, don't listen to it. But Rachel stared at the child, at herself, broken, trapped, forgotten. I have to, Rachel whispered. She stepped into the ritual circle. Daniel shouted her name. Marlene screamed for her to stop. The child's porcelain-veined hand reached out. Rachel lifted the mask. Come back to me, the child whispered. Rachel pressed the mask to her face. Light erupted. A scream tore through the clearing. Not Rachel's, not the child's, but a third voice. One ancient, one furious. Marlene covered her ears. Daniel fell to his knees. The light swallowed everything, and Rachel vanished inside it. The world inside the burst of white light was neither darkness nor memory. It was something in between, a space that felt both infinite and suffocatingly small. Rachel floated weightlessly, as though suspended inside her own mind. Voices swirled around her. Not words, but echoes, fragments, pieces of herself she had lost long ago. Then, slowly, the whiteness faded. Rachel opened her eyes. She stood in a vast void shaped like her grandmother's house, but twisted. The walls stretched upward into blackness. Doors floated in the air with no hinges, no frames. The floor beneath her feet flickered like unstable reflections on water. And standing a few steps away was the child, her younger self, barefoot, blue dress, porcelain veins glowing faintly beneath her skin. Rachel's heart lurched. Where are we? The child tilted her head, eyes reflecting both sadness and something ancient. Inside the bond, Rachel swallowed. Is this the doll's mind or mine? Both, the child whispered, and neither. It's what was made when you gave yourself away. The air shimmered as memories flickered around them like broken film reels, her grandmother shouting, the doll blinking for the first time, the ritual circle glowing under moonlight. Each memory crackled with energy, unstable and sharp. Rachel stepped toward the child. I came to bring you back. No, the child said softly. You came to decide. Decide what? Whether you want to be whole again, or whether you want to remain broken. Rachel felt the words sink into her like ice. I didn't choose to be broken. You did, the child said, a long time ago. You chose to forget your pain. You chose to trust something that could hold it for you. Rachel's chest tightened. I was a child. I was scared. Yes, the child said gently. And you asked the doll to help you, so she did. She took your face, your fear, your innocence. She made a place for them. Rachel's voice trembled. And what are you now? The child smiled faintly. I am everything you left behind. The void shifted. The walls twisted into jagged shapes. The doors creaked open and slammed shut without wind. Somewhere above them, a soft tapping echoed endlessly, like porcelain fingers on glass. The doll's voice drifted like a ghost. Rachel. Rachel clenched her fists. She isn't gone. The child nodded. She lives where you placed her. But she has no body now. Only memory. Only me. Rachel took a deep breath. Then I need you to come back. We can leave this place together. The child stepped back. You don't understand. If I go with you, the bond completes. You gain all that you lost. And all that she gave you. What did she give me? Her hunger, the child whispered. Her memory, her way of seeing the world. She did not simply take from you. She gave herself to you in return. Rachel froze. You mean? Yes, the child said. You are part doll now. The words struck like a blow. Rachel shook her head violently. No, I'm human. You are what you remember, the child said. And she filled your forgotten places with herself. Rachel felt the void tilt. The walls warped into shapes like dolls' faces, hollow eyes, porcelain cracks, open mouths whispering in the dark. Rachel grasped at her head. Stop! The faces whispered louder. Rachel, come back. Share your face. Share your fear. Rachel screamed, I'm not yours. The child approached, eyes shimmering. Then take me back. Take everything, but know that if you take me, you take her too. The void trembled violently as something massive stirred beneath the floor. A shadow, enormous and shapeless, surged upward as though trying to break through the surface. The doll, even without a body, she was present. A colossal presence made of centuries of memory and longing. Rachel's heartbeat thundered. I can't let her out. You can't keep her trapped. The child whispered. Not without me. Not without yourself. Rachel stared desperately at the child. What do you want from me? The child lifted her porcelain-veined hand. Choose. Rachel felt the ground crack beneath her feet. She backed away as fissures spiraled outward, light pouring through them. The void groaned, echoing with the doll's hunger, the child's sorrow, and Rachel's fear. Suddenly, a voice cut through the chaos. Rachel, Daniel. His voice echoed across the void, distant but real. Rachel spun, searching. A door flickered into existence behind her, its frame glowing blue with the same energy as the mask. Daniel pounded on the other side. Rachel, come back. Fight it. Marlene's voice joined his. You don't have to stay there. Come back. Rachel reached toward the door, heart aching. Daniel, but the child grabbed her wrist with surprising force. If you go without me, The bond corrupts. She will take you from the inside. Rachel felt herself pulled in two directions. Then come with me. I can't unless you accept me, the child whispered. All of me, even the darkness. Rachel stared at her younger self, porcelain veins, trembling hands, eyes full of fear she had once ignored. To reject her was to reject her own trauma. To accept her was to accept the doll's imprint. Rachel closed her eyes, then opened them. I choose wholeness, she whispered. The child smiled gently, for the first time truly human. Then take me. Rachel pulled the child into her arms. Light erupted around them. The doll's scream tore through the void, furious and ancient, echoing like breaking glass. No, she is mine. Rachel clutched her child self tightly as the void crumbled. Not anymore. The ground shattered. The door burst open. Daniel's hand reached through the light. Rachel grabbed it. The void collapsed into nothing, and she was pulled back into the world. Rachel gasped as she fell into Daniel's arms, the ritual circle glowing fiercely beneath them. The fog whipped violently, the trees trembling as if shaken by a great storm. Marlene rushed to her. Rachel, are you all right? Rachel opened her eyes. They were no longer just her eyes. Deep within them, faint and glowing, was the reflection of the child she had reclaimed, and something else, a memory not entirely human. Rachel whispered, I am whole. But she's not gone. Rachel drew in a shaky breath as the last tremor faded from the ritual clearing. The air felt swollen with leftover energy, dense enough to press against her lungs. Daniel kept one arm around her, steadying her weight, while Marlene hovered anxiously nearby. The ground beneath them was still faintly glowing, the fractured runes dimming slowly like dying embers. Rachel clutched her chest. Something pulsed beneath her ribs, warm and cold at the same time, like two heartbeats overlapping in a rhythm not entirely human. She felt dizzy, pulled in two directions, as if her body was trying to remember two selves at once. Rachel, Daniel whispered, brushing hair from her face. Talk to me. What happened in there? She shook her head slowly. I brought her back. The child I left behind. The part of me the doll kept. She touched her temple, feeling faint static beneath her skin, but she wasn't alone. When I pulled her out, something else came with her. Marlene's face tightened. You mean the doll? Rachel nodded. She doesn't have a body anymore, but she's not gone. A sudden gust of wind tore through the clearing. Fog churned violently, spiraling as if stirred by an invisible force. Rachel staggered. The pulse inside her chest quickened. Daniel instinctively stepped in front of her. She's trying to get out, isn't she? Rachel pressed a trembling hand over her heart. She's trying to find a shape, a vessel. She's looking for something to become. Marlene's voice was barely a whisper. Is she trying to become you? No, Rachel said softly. She wants to finish what she started. She wants to become what I was supposed to be. The mask lay on the ground where she had dropped it during the collapse of the void. Its porcelain surface was dim now, no longer glowing. But when Rachel looked at it, she felt a whisper of something inside the child, fragile and frightened, and something darker curled behind her like a shadow. Daniel crouched and picked up the mask carefully. What do we do with this? Rachel hesitated. I need it, even if it scares me. The mask still holds the boundary between us. It keeps me from becoming her, and keeps her from becoming me. The fog shifted again, this time forming vague silhouettes, doll-shaped shadows flickering in and out of form. They were not solid. They were not alive. They were memories, echoes, searching desperately for a shape to latch onto. Marlene backed away. She's pulling at the world, trying to rebuild herself. Rachel felt the pull inside her chest respond, and using me to do it. Daniel grabbed Rachel's arm. We have to get you somewhere safe. There is no safe anymore, Rachel whispered. Not while she's inside me. The trees creaked as if something enormous was moving through them. Branches bent, leaves shuddered, the clearing darkened, shadows stretching unnaturally long. Then, from the far side of the circle, a faint tapping began. Tap, tap, tap. Rachel froze. She's trying to walk. A figure emerged from the fog, not fully formed, not solid. A patchwork of porcelain fragments suspended in air, swirling and clicking together like bones searching for joints. Two fractured eyes blinked open inside the cloud of shards. Marlene gasped. She's rebuilding herself with memory alone. The fragments drew closer, pulling themselves into a shape resembling a doll's torso. The face flickered between forms, Rachel's childhood face, the cracked doll's face, then a smooth blank one, as if searching for the right identity. Rachel stepped forward despite Daniel's protest. She felt the pull again, an invisible hook dragging her closer. She's calling me, Rachel whispered. Daniel grabbed her wrist tightly. You are not going to her. Rachel's voice trembled. I don't have a choice. She's tied to me, and I'm tied to her. The porcelain fragments halted, hovering silently. Then a distorted voice echoed through the clearing, fractured like broken glass. Rachel, you brought me back. Rachel's pulse thundered. I didn't bring you. I brought the child. The fragments shivered violently. The voice sharpened. The child and I are the same. No, Rachel said, stepping forward. You twisted her. You trapped her. But she was mine before she was yours. A deep, resonant hum vibrated through the clearing. The doll shards spun angrily. One shard shot past Rachel's cheek, slicing a thin line of blood across her skin. Daniel pulled her back. Enough, Rachel. You can't talk to it anymore. It's manipulating you, Rachel whispered. She's not manipulating me. She's afraid. The porcelain cloud stilled. Rachel spoke louder. You're afraid because I'm whole now. You've never had to face me like this. The shards vibrated, narrowing into a tighter swarm. A thin, trembling voice escaped them. You left me. You promised we would be one. Rachel steadied her breath. I promised when I was a child. I didn't understand. I don't belong to you. The air crackled. A burst of shards shot toward her. Daniel shoved Rachel out of the way, the fragments slicing into his shoulder. He cried out and fell. Daniel, Rachel dropped beside him. Marlene pressed a cloth to his wound. He'll bleed badly if we don't move. Rachel stared up at the swirling shards. Stop! Stop hurting them. This is between you and me. The fragments froze midair, then slowly they turned toward her. Rachel stood, trembling but resolute. If you want me, I want something too. Silence. What did you do to the child? Rachel demanded. What part of her is still you? The shards twisted, forming the outline of a face. A child's face. Her child's face. It spoke in a voice that was both hers and the doll's. She was afraid. I kept her safe. I kept her perfect. I kept her still. You kept her prisoner. Rachel said, I kept what you gave me. Rachel lifted the mask. Then take back only what belongs to you. The shards recoiled violently. No, Rachel stepped closer. You wanted to become me, but you never understood me. You only understood the part of me that was afraid. The doll's voice cracked with fury. Fear is truth. No, Rachel said, fear is only the beginning. The shards clattered, losing cohesion. The figure flickered. Rachel stepped forward, holding the mask between them. If you want to live, you need me whole. If you try to take me, you die with me. If you try to replace me, you vanish with me. There is only one way you survive. Silence. Daniel and Marlene stared. Horrified, Rachel spoke gently but firmly. You must let go. The porcelain cloud shook violently, resisting, twisting into shapes of rage and despair. Then, slowly, pieces began falling. Shards dropped like snowflakes onto the ground. The cloud thinned. The voice faltered. No, no, do not leave me. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. I'm not leaving you. I'm releasing you. The last shard dropped. A soft whisper drifted through the air, faint, wistful, accepting. Rachel, thank you. The clearing fell silent. The porcelain fragments lay still. Rachel collapsed to her knees, gripping the mask, sobbing with relief and grief tangled together. Daniel crawled to her despite his injury. Is it over? Rachel wiped her eyes. No, but she's finally letting me go. Marlene let out a trembling breath. What happens now? Rachel looked at the mask. Her child face was gone. The porcelain was blank once more. Rachel whispered, now, I learn who I am without her. The night after the ritual clearing felt wrong in every direction. The forest was too quiet, the wind too still, the fog too watchful. Every shift in the shadows felt like a breath held too long. Even after the doll's lingering fragments dissolved into dust, the world around Rachel seemed to pulse with an awareness it had never held before. Daniel supported her as they walked, his injured shoulder still bleeding through the torn fabric of his shirt. Marlene walked ahead with a flashlight that flickered with every step, as though the beam struggled to stay alive in the air surrounding them. They followed the forest trail back toward Briarford, but the path felt altered, stretched in strange ways, like the world was still recovering from being bent by something otherworldly. We need to get him help, Rachel whispered, her voice thin as she looked at Daniel. Daniel forced a reassuring smile through pain. I'm fine, just a scratch. Marlene shot him a sharp glare. That scratch nearly took your arm off. We're not ignoring that. But as they stepped out of the trees and the first faint lights of the town flickered in the distance, Rachel felt something shift inside her chest. A low hum, a whisper of movement behind her ribs, something that didn't belong to her body alone. She paused. Daniel noticed instantly. Rachel, what is it? I feel something, like a vibration. Marlene stopped walking. From what? The mask. Rachel touched her sternum. No, from inside me. The hum grew stronger, soft, rhythmic, familiar, like a heartbeat layered beneath her own. It was faint at first, but then a pulse of energy shot through her torso, making her gasp. Daniel grabbed her arms. Rachel, she steadied herself. It's her, or a memory of her. Marlene's breath hitched. I thought she let go. Rachel shook her head. She did, but letting go doesn't erase what she left behind. They reached the edge of town. Houses lined the street in lifeless rows, most of them dark except for one or two faint windows glowing with late-night lamplight. The town felt altered, emptier, as though something subtle had drained from it. A soft tapping reached Rachel's ears. Tap, tap, tap. She froze. Daniel and Marlene turned toward her, alarmed. Rachel, Marlene whispered, "Are you hearing something?" Tap, tap. Rachel's voice trembled. Not outside, inside me. The tapping wasn't from the forest. It was from her mind, from the place where the child's self and the doll's essence had intertwined. Daniel gently touched her cheek. "You're here with us, whatever you're hearing. It's not real." "No," Rachel whispered. "It is real. It's just not physical." They reached Marlene's shop, the only place that felt even remotely safe. Inside, they locked the doors and shut the blinds. Marlene gathered old towels and pressed one firmly against Daniel's shoulder while Rachel sat at the table, the mask resting motionless before her. Its blank surface stared back like an empty eye. Daniel leaned against the counter, his voice tight with pain. "Tell us everything. Don't hold anything." Rachel nodded slowly. "When I pulled the child back, I didn't just bring her. I brought her memories and her fear and the parts of the doll she couldn't hide." Marlene looked up sharply. "Parts? What parts?" Rachel closed her eyes. Her voice, her hunger, her way of seeing me. The room felt colder. Rachel continued. "She didn't vanish. She folded into me, or into the child, or both." Daniel's jaw clenched. "So you're saying the doll is inside you, not as she was?" Rachel said. "Not as a creature, more like a memory that's not mine. A lingering imprint, a shadow." Marlene paced the floor, fear trembling in her steps. "Rachel, even a shadow of something like her is dangerous." Rachel pressed her hands to her face. "I know, but I can't remove her without removing myself. We're intertwined." Daniel lowered himself into the chair beside her. "Then we work with what you have, not against it." But Rachel barely heard him, because in her mind, the tapping stopped and a whisper followed. "Rachel." Her breath caught. The voice wasn't childlike. It wasn't hers. It was the doll's original voice, cold, graceful, ancient. She looked up suddenly, wide-eyed. "She's speaking." Marlene froze. "What is she saying?" Rachel swallowed. "Not words, just my name, like she's trying to find me." Daniel took her hands. "You're not going back there. She can't pull you again. You broke the bond." Rachel shook her head. "No, I transformed it. She can't control me, but she can still reach." A sudden knock sounded at the back door. The three of them tensed instantly. Marlene whispered, "Nobody knows we're here." Another knock. Rachel felt her pulse spike. Tap, tap, tap. Daniel pulled out a small kitchen knife, gripping it in his good hand. Marlene moved toward the window, peeking cautiously through a gap in the blinds. Her voice dropped to a horrified whisper. "Rachel, you need to see this." Rachel stood slowly and walked to the window. Outside, The fog was gathering. It wasn't natural fog. It moved with intention, swirling in patterns, rising and falling like breath. And then, inside the fog, a shape appeared, small, flickering, disjointed. A doll, not solid, not fully formed, just a fragment, a memory with legs. It walked unevenly, jerking like a puppet with invisible strings. Its face flashed between different forms, smooth, cracked, blank, childlike. Rachel's own younger face cycling restlessly as though it couldn't decide what it was supposed to be. Rachel's stomach twisted. She's trying to rebuild herself. Daniel stepped back. How? She let go. She let go of me, Rachel whispered. Not of existence. Marlene grabbed the mask from the table. Can you use this to stop her? Rachel stared at the blank porcelain surface. I don't know if I stop her or if I make her stronger. The doll fragment outside lifted its face. Its shifting features paused on Rachel's childhood face. Daniel whispered, Rachel, it's looking for you. Rachel pressed her palm against her chest again. The second heartbeat thudded in response. She's rebuilding herself through memory. Piece by piece, she needs a vessel, a form, something she can shape. Not you, Daniel said sharply. Not the mask, Marlene added. Rachel turned toward them slowly. No, she won't use either of those. Her voice trembled. She'll use the child. Daniel's eyes widened. You mean the part of you that came back? Rachel nodded. She was half human, half doll already. She's the perfect vessel. Marlene shook her head, horrified. Rachel, if the doll takes your younger self. Rachel finished the sentence for her. Then she will take me from the inside. The fragment outside took another step, its form flickering violently. The fog pulsed. Rachel whispered, she's close. She's so close. Daniel grabbed her shoulders. Rachel, listen to me. You are not her vessel. You are not her memory. You are not her face. Rachel's voice cracked. But I am her beginning, Marlene whispered. Then we end her here. Rachel lifted the mask. Its surface flickered faintly like the beginning of a face trying to form. Rachel whispered, she's coming for it. And for me, and for the child. Daniel stood beside her. Marlene locked the door. Outside, the fog grew thicker. The fragment took another step, and Rachel felt the second heartbeat begin to pound harder. The doll was coming home. The fog outside Marlene's shop thickened until it pressed against the windows like a living curtain. Shadows writhed within it, twisting in ways no natural mist ever should. Rachel stood frozen at the glass, staring at the flickering doll fragment moving through the haze. It jerked forward in stuttering motions, its limbs forming and collapsing as if it were being stitched together by invisible hands. Daniel placed a protective arm in front of her. Stay back! Rachel barely heard him. Something inside her, deep beneath bone and memory, was responding to the fragment's presence. A pull, a calling, a second heartbeat pounding in rhythm with the creature outside. Marlene locked the final latch on the door and backed away. This isn't just a fragment. It's a seed, a beginning. Rachel nodded slowly. She's rebuilding herself through what's inside me, through the child, through everything she left behind. The doll fragment paused outside the window. Its face flickered, shifting between forms, Rachel's childhood face, a blank porcelain mask, a cracked cheek from a memory of the first doll she destroyed. Then it settled momentarily on the youngest version of Rachel, the one from the ritual space. Rachel whispered, "She's trying to become her." Marlene gasped softly, "Your child self is becoming her vessel." Daniel's grip tightened on the knife. "We won't let that happen." Rachel closed her eyes, listening to the second heartbeat. It grew louder, pushing against the edges of her mind. She saw flashes, forest paths, ritual circles, the doll's hands reaching out, a child's cry echoing in a place without walls. "She's inside the bond," Rachel murmured. "She's trying to pull the child back. She knows the child is the closest form she can take." A soft crack sounded. The window, a hairline fracture crawled across the glass. Tap, 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 as if something delicate knocked rhythmically, asking politely to come home. Rachel staggered back. "She's not trying to break in. She's trying to draw me out." Daniel pulled her away from the window. "Then don't go near it." But the tapping wasn't just at the window. It echoed inside her skull. Tap, tap, tap. Rachel clenched her fists. "She's using the bond to make me come to her." Marlene's voice trembled. "Is the child still inside you?" "Yes," Rachel whispered. "She's quiet, sleeping, but the doll knows. She can sense her, and she wants her back." The fog outside thickened further, swirling upward. Then it split down the middle. A figure stepped through, a little girl. Rachel's breath caught. It was the child, her child self, but not fully. Her form flickered, half fog, half porcelain. Her hair floated as if underwater. Her eyes glowed faintly, not with innocence, but with longing. Daniel whispered, "Rachel, is that really her?" Rachel's knees weakened. "Yes." Marlene shook her head violently. "No, that's the doll wearing the child. That's not your memory." Rachel moved toward the window despite their warnings. "She's trying to lure me, using the child's shape, using her voice." The child outside lifted one hand, fingers bending like porcelain joints. She didn't knock. She traced a word on the fogged glass, each letter sharp and trembling. Rachel. Rachel felt the second heartbeat slam painfully against her chest. Daniel grabbed her shoulders. "Fight it." Rachel shivered. "I'm trying." The child opened her mouth, but the voice that came out was not a child's. It was a distorted echo of the doll. "Come out. Come home." Rachel backed away, her breath fast and shallow. The child pressed her face to the glass. Porcelain cracks spiderwebbed from her eyes, widening with each passing second. "She's trying to push through," Marlene whispered. "No," Rachel said. "She's trying to break the boundary between memory and body." The glass splintered further. Daniel raised the knife. "If that thing comes in, we fight." Rachel shook her head. "No blade can stop her. She's not physical enough yet." Marlene stepped forward. "Then what do we do?" Rachel looked at the mask on the table. Its surface was still blank, but she felt energy thrumming beneath it. A potential. "She wants the child," Rachel whispered. "She wants the rest of me." Marlene turned pale. "Then we cannot let her take either." The glass cracked sharply. Then silence. The child vanished from the window. Daniel raised the knife defensively. "Where did she?" A deep creaking noise sounded from the roof. Rachel looked up. Something was crawling across the shingles, moving with sharp, scraping motions. The fog swirled around it. A shadow passed over the small windows near the ceiling. Then the tapping resumed. On the roof. Tap, tap, scrape. Rachel backed away from the table. She's looking for a point of entry. She's testing the structure. Marlene cursed under her breath. She's adapting. A sudden weight pressed on the ceiling. Dust falling in soft cascades. Something pressed down from above. Shifting, testing, searching. Rachel felt a pulse through the mask. She's not outside, she whispered. She's everywhere. She's trying to slip into my mind. Daniel stepped between her and the door. Focus on us, not her. Rachel pressed her palms against her temples. She's pulling me back into the bond. Marlene grabbed her hand. Stay with us, Rachel. But the world flickered. Just once. The shelves in the shop warped and stretched for a moment, as if the walls bent inward. Rachel blinked hard, and they snapped back, but she saw a face reflected in the glass jars. Her childhood face, watching, waiting. I can't hold her back, Rachel whispered. The child is calling too. She's scared. Daniel held her tighter. Then we protect her. Both of you. Rachel suddenly stiffened. Her eyes widened. She's not using the child as a vessel. Marlene turned slowly. Then what is she doing? Rachel looked toward the mask. Its surface was no longer blank. A faint outline was forming. The doll's true face. She's going to use the mask. Rachel whispered. She's going to rebuild herself through it. And through me. The roof groaned again. The tapping intensified. Daniel raised the knife in desperation. Rachel, tell us what we do. Rachel stepped forward, voice trembling. We have to get to the workshop. The real workshop. My grandmother's. It's the only place the mask can be controlled. Marlene nodded quickly. Then we move now. Daniel unlocked the door. Fog spilled inside immediately, curling around their feet like fingers. Rachel grabbed the mask. Its surface shimmered, and a whisper echoed inside her head. Rachel, I'm almost there. She swallowed hard. The doll is coming, she said, and she won't stop this time. The three of them stepped into the fog, and the door slammed shut behind them. Segment 18. The doll that remembers faces. The fog swallowed Rachel, Daniel, and Marlene. The moment the shop door slammed shut behind them, it curled around their legs like smoke, thickening with every breath they took. Streetlights flickered overhead, their glow bending unnaturally, as if the fog distorted the very shape of the world. The silence was suffocating. Even their footsteps felt muted, swallowed by the dense air that clung to their skin. Rachel clutched the porcelain mask to her chest. Its surface pulsed faintly, the faint outline of the doll's true face, growing sharper each second. Every pulse echoed inside her mind like a distant heartbeat. The second heartbeat, the one that was not hers. Daniel walked close beside her, knife in hand. Though they all knew a blade meant nothing against a creature built from memory, still his determination anchored her. Marlene moved ahead with careful steps, glancing back often. Her fear pressed into every line of her face. We need to hurry, Marlene whispered. If she fully forms again, none of all will be able to stop her. Rachel felt a tremor move through her chest. She's close. She's using the fog to reshape herself. She's drawing from everything I left in her. Then don't let her take anything else, Daniel murmured. But Rachel wasn't sure she had the strength. The bond, though broken, still flickered inside her a thread. the doll could tug, even from memory alone. The three of them moved down Briarford's narrow back road, the abandoned buildings looming like silent sentinels. The town looked hollow, emptied of life. Windows stared blankly, doors hung ajar. Not a single light shone in the houses lining the street. "Where is everyone?" Daniel asked quietly. Marlene answered without turning, sleeping or hiding. Whenever she takes shape, people fall into a kind of stillness, a forgetting. Rachel shuddered. She used to do that to me when I was a child. Images flickered through her mind. A dim workshop, the doll glowing softly, her grandmother shaking her awake while the world blurred around her. "You're losing yourself," her grandmother had whispered. A low creaking sound broke through Rachel's memory. They froze. From behind them, something dragged across the ground. A shape shifted in the fog, small, delicate, reassembling with each step. "She found us," Rachel said. Daniel held the knife tightly. "Keep moving." They hurried down the street, fog trailing behind like a hungry mouth. At the end of the road, Rachel saw it, the old workshop, her grandmother's refuge, the place Rachel had been forbidden to enter for years. Its roof sagged, its windows boarded, but it still stood solid against the decay around it. Rachel felt a surge of clarity. This is where she was first bound. This is where the mask was carved. This is where we finish this. They reached the workshop door. Marlene fumbled with the keys. Her hands shook so violently she dropped them. Rachel bent to grab them when she heard it. Tap, tap, tap. Not from inside the workshop. From behind her, Rachel turned slowly. A doll fragment stood inches away, more complete than before. Porcelain limbs fused into place, a torso forming, its head almost fully shaped except for the eyes, which flickered between empty holes and glowing orbs of light. The fragment tilted its head. Rachel stumbled back. Daniel lunged forward, driving the knife into the doll fragment, but the blade passed through it like fog. The doll shuddered, its shape flickering, but it did not break. "It's not fully formed," Marlene whispered. "It's still memory." The doll fragment opened its mouth wide enough for porcelain to crack around the jaw. "Come back," it whispered. Rachel shook her head. "No." The fragment lunged. Rachel thrust the mask forward instinctively. The mask flared with sudden white light. The fragment recoiled, its form stretching like pulled smoke, before collapsing into a puddle of fog that scattered across the street. Daniel grabbed Rachel's hand. "Inside. Now!" Marlene shoved the key into the lock. The door flew open, and they rushed into the workshop. Marlene slammed the door behind them, locking it 3 times. Inside, the air smelled of old wood, dust, and faint lavender, a scent Rachel remembered from her childhood. The room was cluttered with work tables, half-formed dolls, carved tools, and shelves filled with old journals. The workshop felt frozen in time. Rachel stepped forward slowly, memories tightening around her throat. "She used to bring me here, late at night, when she thought the doll was sleeping." Daniel frowned. "Dolls sleep," Rachel shook her head. She hoped they did. Marlene moved to the far end of the workshop where an old trunk sat. She knelt beside it. Your grandmother left something behind for this moment. She always feared the day the bond would break wrong. She lifted the trunk lid. Inside were dozens of carved masks, some blank, some half-formed, some with faces Rachel almost recognized. A chill ran down her spine. She was trying to make replacements, trying to confuse the doll, trying to weaken her connection to me. Daniel whispered, "Which one do we use?" Marlene nodded toward the porcelain mask in Rachel's hands. "Only that one matters. The doll marked it. Your grandmother carved it from your memory. The others were decoys." Rachel lifted the mask. It had grown warmer. The faint outline of the doll's true face sharpened further, like a ghost manifesting. "She's trying to take it," Rachel murmured, trying to push herself into it. Marlene stepped back. "Then you have to shape it first." Before she does, Rachel blinked. "Shape it? How?" "By deciding who you are," Marlene said softly. "Not who she wants you to be, not who the child fears being, who you choose to be." The words struck deep. Rachel closed her eyes. The second heartbeat pulsed. The doll whispered faintly. The child whimpered inside her memory. Rachel lifted the mask. A roar shook the roof. The workshop windows rattled violently. Daniel grabbed Rachel's arm. "She's here." The fog outside thickened until it pressed against the glass, swirling into a vortex. A shape began to form within the fog, tall, elegant, almost human. The doll, rebuilding herself. The workshop lights flickered. Marlene backed toward the trunk. "Rachel, finish it. Shape the mask." Rachel pressed her trembling hands against the porcelain surface. It resisted, then softened beneath her touch like warm clay. A face began to form human, but undefined. The workshop door buckled inward. Boom! Dust rained from the ceiling. The fog seeped through the cracks, whispering her name. "Rachel." Rachel's heart pounded. She pushed her will into the mask. Not fear, not memory, choice. Another explosion rattled the door. Daniel shouted, "She's breaking through." Rachel focused harder. The porcelain softened more. Her fingers shaped the cheeks, the jaw, the eyes. Her eyes older than the child's, braver than the doll's. A self she had never fully allowed to exist. Boom! The door split. Fog spilled inside. A porcelain hand reached through. Shards of memory fell like snow. Rachel shaped the mask, shaped her face, shaped her fate. The doll's whisper filled the workshop like wind made of broken glass. "I am coming home." Rachel lifted the mask. Light burst across the room, and the door shattered. Segment 19. The doll that remembers faces. The door of the workshop exploded inward with a violent crack, splintering into a storm of wooden shards that flew across the room like shrapnel. Rachel shielded her face instinctively as the shockwave rattled the shelves, sent tools clattering to the floor, and nearly knocked Daniel off his feet. Fog surged into the workshop in a tidal wave, swirling with unnatural purpose, filling every corner with a suffocating cold. Rachel Rachel held the newly shaped mask tightly against her chest. The porcelain pulsed with a fierce white glow, warm against her skin. The mask carried her face now, neither the child's nor the doll's, but something new, something whole. Yet the second heartbeat thudded inside her like a war drum, answering the fog's approach. Out of the swirling mist stepped a figure, tall, graceful, terrifying. The doll had taken shape at last. Her body shimmered between solid porcelain and shifting fog, as though she were made from memory, still trying to remember itself. Her face, now fully formed, held Rachel's childhood features, but colder, smoother, perfected in an inhuman way. Her eyes glowed with a soft, bluish-white light, and every step she took left a faint crackling echo, like porcelain tapping glass. Daniel stepped protectively in front of Rachel, knife raised, even though he knew it was pointless. Marlene backed against the trunk of masks, breath trembling. The doll tilted her head. Her voice drifted across the workshop like a lullaby wrapped in shattered glass. Rachel, you shaped yourself beautifully. Rachel stepped forward, holding the mask. Stop! The doll's smile widened. Too calm, too knowing. I cannot stop. Not when I am so close. Not when you have given me everything I needed. I gave you nothing, Rachel said, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her fear. You gave me your beginning, the doll whispered. Your fear, your forgotten self, your childhood truths. And now... She raised her porcelain hands, delicate and deadly. I have taken shape through you. Rachel felt the second heartbeat slam violently. The child inside her memory stirred, her voice trembling in Rachel's mind. She's trying to take me. She's trying to take you. Rachel steadied herself. You can't have her. The doll glided closer. She was mine first. Daniel stepped forward. Touch her, and the doll flicked her fingers. Fog lashed out like a whip. Daniel flew backward, crashing into a workbench that collapsed under his weight. Tools scattered. His knife skidded across the floor. He groaned, dazed. Marlene screamed, rushing to him, checking his pulse with shaking hands. Daniel, stay with me. Rachel clenched the mask, fury burning through her fear. Leave them alone. The doll turned toward her, her expression softening into something eerily maternal. Rachel, we were never enemies. You made me to hold what you could not. I became your shelter, your reflection, your protector. You were my prison, Rachel whispered. No, the doll said gently. You left me because you feared the truth. She stepped closer, fog swirling around her like a veil. You cannot run from your own beginning. Rachel backed toward the center of the workshop. I am not your beginning. I'm my own. The doll extended one porcelain hand. Then give me what remains of the child. Let me hold her again. Let me complete myself. Rachel pressed the mask closer to her chest. She's not yours anymore. The doll's expression snapped into something sharp, cruel. You cannot protect her. Rachel took a deep breath. Watch me. The doll lunged. The workshop erupted into chaos. Fog exploded toward Rachel, tendrils whipping around her ankles and wrists, trying to bind her. She stumbled back, gripping the mask as tightly as she could. The glow around it flared, burning through the fog. but the doll pressed harder, her porcelain chest cracking as if with strain. "You cannot shape yourself without shaping me," the doll screamed. Rachel felt the fog close around her throat. Squeezing, she gasped, dropping to her knees as the world flickered at the edges. The doll's shadow loomed over her, stretching across the floor like a reaching hand. Marlene grabbed a lantern from a shelf and hurled it at the doll. The lantern shattered, fire exploding against the fog. The doll recoiled, shrieking as flames licked her form, not burning, but disrupting it. "Rachel, now!" Marlene shouted. Rachel forced herself to her feet. She lifted the mask with shaking hands. The porcelain radiated warmth, pulsing with her heartbeat. She pressed it to her face. Light flooded her vision. The mask melded to her skin instantly, not painfully, but with a fierce, consuming certainty. Her breath caught as two heartbeats merged into one pounding rhythm. The child inside her memory reached out, grasping her hand with tiny porcelain fingers. "I'm not afraid," the child whispered. Rachel felt strength surge through hers. The child's and something older. She pulled the mask free from her face. It glowed like a small sun. The doll staggered back. "What have you done?" "I shaped myself," Rachel whispered. "You can't control what you never created." The doll screamed, her form fracturing. Fog burst from her like shards of broken memory. Rachel lifted the mask high, its light spilling across the workshop. The fog burned away wherever it touched. "No," the doll cried, her voice warping. "You cannot exist without me." Rachel stepped toward her. "I was never you." The doll lunged again, cracked porcelain limbs snapping into sharper form. But this time, Rachel did not retreat. She thrust the mask forward, pressing it against the doll's chest. Light erupted. The doll convulsed, her scream echoing through the workshop, tearing through wood, glass, and memory. Her form shattered into hundreds of fragments, each piece glowing like dying stars before dissolving into mist. Rachel fell to one knee, chest heaving, mask still glowing faintly in her hands. Silence crashed down. Marlene rushed to her, helping her stay upright. "Rachel, are you hurt?" Rachel shook her head weakly. "No, but she's not gone." Daniel groaned as he sat up, wincing. What do you mean, not gone?" "I saw her break apart." Rachel stared at the dissolving fog, her voice barely above a whisper. "She was made from memory, and memory doesn't die." The mask cooled in her hands. The faint outline of her face remained, but beside it, something else shimmered. A crack, a whisper, a promise. Rachel stood slowly, eyes wide with dread and understanding. "She's not gone," she repeated. "She's inside the cracks." Daniel and Marlene stared at her. "What cracks?" Daniel asked. Rachel turned the mask toward them. Hairline fractures webbed across its surface, and from within the smallest crack, a single whisper escaped. "Rachel." For a long moment, silence filled the ruined workshop. Dust drifted downward like slow-falling snow, settling over shattered wood and scattered tools. The fog had thinned, retreating into pale wisps that curled at the threshold of the broken doorway. Rachel stood in the center of the room, the mask glowing faintly in her trembling hands. The crack running across its surface shimmered with a faint blue-white pulse, like a heartbeat trapped beneath porcelain. Daniel, still wounded but steady, staggered toward her. Marlene hovered near the trunk of masks, pale and wide-eyed. Daniel reached her first. Rachel, talk to us. What is happening? Rachel stared at the mask. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. She's inside it. Not whole, not broken. Waiting. Marlene shook her head. But you destroyed her. We saw her shatter. Rachel lifted the mask slowly. You can't shatter memory. You can only move it. Contain it, shape it, and I shaped her into this. The crack pulsed again. Rachel stepped backward instinctively. She's not strong enough to form a body, Rachel said softly, but she still has a voice. Daniel swallowed. Can she hurt you? Yes, Rachel answered, but not in the way she used to. The mask vibrated faintly. Rachel. The whisper slipped out like wind through broken glass. Rachel flinched. Marlene rushed forward. Get rid of it. Throw it. Burn it. Crush it. Rachel shook her head. I can't destroy it. If I destroy it now, she'll scatter, uncontained. She could slip into every memory this workshop has ever held. Into the town, into the people sleeping in their homes. Marlene froze. She could infect all of Briarford. Rachel nodded. She could become 1,000 faces instead of one. Silence trembled through the room as understanding took hold. Daniel stepped closer. Then what do we do? Rachel took a slow, steady breath. We finish what my grandmother started. We bind her. Marlene frowned. Bind her? To what? Rachel looked down at the mask, seeing her own shaped features locked into porcelain. To me. Daniel stepped forward, horrified. No, absolutely not. Rachel lifted her gaze. There is no other vessel strong enough to hold her. No object built for this purpose except this mask. And the mask's face is mine now. Only I can carry what she is without letting her out. Marlene shook her head frantically. Rachel, she will destroy you from inside. She already tried, Rachel whispered. But I'm not the child anymore, and I'm not the girl who gave herself away to a doll. I'm whole, I am stronger, and if I bind her, she stays contained forever. Daniel grabbed her shoulders. You don't have to do this, Rachel smiled sadly. I do, because she isn't just my monster. She's my creation, my forgotten pain, my fear made into form. I can't throw that away. I have to carry it. Daniel's voice shook. Rachel. Marlene bit her trembling lip. How do you bind her? Rachel looked toward the center of the workshop, toward the faded outline of a ritual circle carved into the floor. Her grandmother had etched it long ago, worn nearly invisible by time. But Rachel knew every line by heart. By finishing the ritual we never completed, she said, by merging what remains of her with what I've become. Daniel hissed breath through his teeth. That sounds like suicide. Rachel turned toward him with steady eyes. It's not suicide, it's responsibility. The second heartbeat inside her chest pulsed, gentle but urgent. The child's voice flickered softly in her mind. I'm not afraid anymore. Rachel walked toward the ritual circle. Fog drifted aside as she stepped into the space. Marlene and Daniel watched helplessly, standing at the edge. but unable to enter without disrupting the fragile balance of the workshop's energy. Rachel knelt in the center. She placed the mask on the ground. Its cracks glowed brighter. Rachel closed her eyes. She let her breath settle. She let the child stand beside her in memory. She let the doll's whisper slide through her mind without fear. Then she spoke. "I bind you not as a prison, but as a memory. You are part of me, but you are not my master. You will have form, but no power. You will have voice, but no control. You will remain with me, and through me, you will never harm again." The workshop floor trembled. Fog surged inward, curling in spirals that wrapped around the mask. The crack running across its surface widened and then sealed itself with a bright flare of light. The faint outline of the doll's face faded, shifting into something softer, something less defined. A voice echoed, fragmented, fading. "Rachel." Rachel whispered. "Rest." A gust of energy burst from the circle, throwing Daniel and Marlene back against the walls. The shelves rattled, tools lifted into the air. The workshop roared with a wind of memories' faces. Moments, whispers hurtling into the mask as though being pulled home. Rachel stayed perfectly still. Light swallowed her. When it faded, she was alone in the circle. Daniel rushed to her. "Rachel, Rachel." She opened her eyes. They were hers, entirely hers. No glow, no flicker, no second heartbeat. Marlene approached cautiously. "Rachel, is she gone?" Rachel picked up the mask. It was cold now, silent. The crack remained, but no whisper came from it. Rachel pressed it gently against her chest. "She's not gone, but she's quiet, and she's mine to carry now." Daniel wrapped his arms around her, holding her tightly. "Then we go forward together, all of us." Rachel breathed out, shaky but free. "Yes, together." The fog outside the workshop began to lift at last. Light from the rising sun crept across the broken floorboards, warming the cold air. Marlene looked toward the horizon. "The town will wake soon." Rachel nodded. "And they won't remember anything. Not the fog, not the footsteps, not the shadows." Daniel looked down at the mask. "What about you?" Rachel traced the crack with her thumb. "I will remember, because someone has to." She stepped out of the circle, out of the workshop, out into the morning light. Behind her, the mask stayed silent, but as the sun rose, one thing remained certain. Some memories never die. They only learn new faces. The story ends here. Thank you for watching and listening to the whole story. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to listen to the next stories.